I'm gonna go copy it and see if I got it right. Anyway, guys.
Yang Ji Hao.
Say that again, Neil? Oh, I didn't see. Oh, okay. Did they say I got it right, Neil? I don't know. I can't see it. All right. We're going over to the other stream. It's been real, guys. We'll see you guys tomorrow.
Shout out to you guys. I don't know if you got it right because I didn't hear you say it, Sharif, but someone in the chat said it's Yi Ji Hao Ren.
So
Re-kit.
So no.
So I don't know what Sharif said. Did he not get it right?
No, he did.
But now it's the new chat. Now we're in the new chat, everybody, which I just joined as well because you're in the afternoon stream now, although the other one is still going. So obviously the market, well, it was red. We went red to green.
Let's
and
go.
Then green to red, and then we're going red again as we speak. As the market starts to come back down in. The last, you'll see here, I'm trying to get back in AMD. I've been on AMD short. I lost it at VWAP right here. We're in Intel for the third time, but that's a different story. That just continues to go lower, lower, lower all the way through. And for everyone, there you go. Now everyone's in the chat. I started to see everyone start piling in, like that rollover finally starting to take effect. Yeah, short into VWAP is the plan of action. 19,000 on the NASDAQ is holding pretty well in addition. So the shorts have come in. I don't know why I'm still showing that one. We went top, VWAP, and now lower highs. Intel's down 1.5%. It's not looking good, but the big loser today, maybe not percentage-wise, but trend-wise, has been Meta, which, as you guys all know, is taking it on the chin. At the lows, it's been dragging the market down. Seems like it wants to retest at least 500 this week. Really no bid in sight for Meta. I like them, but sometimes we weather these storms, let's just say. I said my thoughts about the whole antitrust and going after the Instagram purchase. I think that's a little bit nonsensical, but they're still under pressure anyway. It doesn't matter what you think, it's the price action.
All right, what's up, everybody? Hold on a second here. Yeah, everything's been good, man. We're short. We're short the Qs. We're short Intel up here. 24s. We have triple barrel action up here, man. Short, huge trade on Intel right there. The Qs, we were long. You guys know that. We lost it early right there. Then we went long, and then it broke VWAP. We got out. We actually still kept going long until eventually it broke. Then now we're short. We're short right now, the market. So that's been good. And then Apple, just upset that we're not more short, right? And again, like here was the first call long, then the monster short. So if you guess that Apple's the #1 P&L name around here, then you're going to be right. There's Apple right there. I also have the #1 losing PL. We'll talk about that. But there it goes to the downside. And you guys want to talk about getting wicked out a little bit? It's not even a wick out. I have two stops here at basically at 159 clean. So like short, like that's too bad. We got stopped out by 1 penny right there, 159.04. I actually had a break of 159.05. That's a 159.06, 159.07 right there on Boeing. So, all right, lots of names to trade here this afternoon, that's for sure. I mean, now that the NASDAQ is down, I mean, this is why we're short right here, right? Pretty straightforward. There's the high, there's the high, there's the high, there's the high, there's the tank. So yeah, man, we're trying to do something special again here this afternoon as here comes the market screaming right back in, hopefully, to those lows. Let's take advantage of a little bit of it. We'll bid some 46s. Did we just get those? We're on ARCA. Did we get them? Did we get them? All right, we'll wait to see if we can get those 46s. But here we go, man. It's a nice move down on the futures. We're short. I'm short 3 names: Intel, Apple, futures. So Intel, we don't need to explain that. I've been short that for a while. We coined ourselves the Intel Whisperer, self-proclaimed. It seems like when we get into it, it works. And not all the time, but we've been really, really trading Intel quite well lately. So glad to be on that one. And yeah, so Tesla we've left alone. I don't know, man. It's been real good. So far so good today. Let's just try to keep the momentum this way. I don't know what Palantir's doing. That was going to be a name that I wanted to look at. Ooh, wow. Okay, still up 5. So even though the NASDAQ turns red right there, which we've already done this little graphic, Palantir. holding up. Wow. So a little bit of a VWAP dip buy opportunity possibly at 96.30s right there for VWAP. So yeah, so that was Boeing. That was a little bit of Intel there. I mean, we really like Intel. My best outs on Intel have been down here, man, 94s, 95s. So we'll just get out a bunch there. Okay, now we're starting to crack lower, man. The net is now starting to run a little bit here. So there it is. Yes, sir. We get that fill there on the futures as well. So we're short. That's it. Keep going. So we'll just keep providing you with these, hopefully providing you with some of these trades. And again, today I've traded 1, 2, 3, 5 names only. So it hasn't been a huge amount of names. We'll look to do some more damage though as we go. 5 names will be 3 and 2. Our 2 losers will be Boeing and the Qs, and then we have Tesla's a flat one, so winners on Apple. And all right, so and Intel. Let's just keep going on. I'm interested to hear what you guys want to talk about, man. I mean, I haven't made any NVIDIA trades today. That's probably going to be on the list. I think
it'll be on the list. I think Meta's probably going to be in there as well. Yeah. Just to, where is this? Sir David of Smoosh-a-lot in the chat. You were talking about the small cap runner. It's SALM.
Yep.
Just want to note, that one's on the Salem Media Group. We have access to OTC. Yeah. That's on the OTC. It's going. But for anyone that looks at a symbol on the OTC, just understand some of the way that it trades. Like, we're used to trading stock where, here, let me just pull it up. It's just so much easier if we do this. We're used to trading stocks where you see the bid. I don't even know why I'm looking at NYMEX on my level 2 there. Must have for some reason. If you see quote, you can hit quote. Like, if you see a bid, it's there and you can hit it. Remember, on the OTC, like, you can see OTCN and you'll see some of these quotes that if you see it, you can hit it. But not every one of these. It's a gapper that's going.
All right.
You're not going to be able to get instant execution there because the market makers, they can take your order and just sort of hold it. So there's prints going off. But just understand, this is not the type of liquidity that you would be accustomed to on a name like this. So yeah, it's trending up and there's good volume. But volume and liquidity are 2 different things. You want to make sure if you find OTCX, when we have Jeff on, that's where you're able to get that in link. You're able to see the actual quote. And you know you can hit that when it's there. But the other books, understand, the market makers can show up. They don't have to fill you necessarily right away when you try to hit them. Just be really careful trading those. Good when they trend, but can be a little bit, it's just different if you're used to trading equity on NASDAQ, New York, AMEX. That's the one thing I want to get across. And a lot of people get tripped up the first time they get caught the wrong way on an OTC. So just good luck. I know it's trending up for now.
Yeah. Go ahead. Yeah. You're going to look at the volume.
Welcome, everyone, to the Afternoon Rundown, the show where you decide what we talk about every afternoon. The big boys, as you just saw, locked and loaded, ready to look at the tickers as decided by you. But the only way to get those tickers up there is to join us during the midday show and get into the chat and vote for your favorite tickers every day. But you got to be a subscriber in order to engage with Joseph and I and Neil and Sean in the chat. So make sure you're liking, subscribing, and share the stream with someone who you might find it interesting. Here it is, guys. We are literally flat on the triple Qs right now. As you can see on your screen, we're trading around 457 1/3. It's been a little bit of green, a little bit of red. Very flat day today with the majority of the Mag 7 names headed to the downside. Let's see which one of those names we chose first. NVIDIA, one of the positive names in Mag 7 world, up to the tune of about 1.5%. Several headlines today. The lesser of the two, NVIDIA unveiling their GeForce RTX 5060 GPU, which starts at a thrifty $299. Not a bad look there. Also receiving praise was Jensen Huang from Donald Trump, saying NVIDIA wouldn't be doing $500 billion in AI infrastructure commitment without tariffs, boys. That's a statement.
Yeah, well, that was all. Of course, that's what's going to get said. You'd never get to know in this kind of a situation, but it would be hard to say it played no role in it. If we're being fair, like, how could you say it played no role? 100% the reason? I don't know. I preferred Intel and AMD today, but in a similar premise, if you look at NVIDIA, and I saw this pointed out in the midday, rightfully so, I don't think it's a good sign that it was relatively strong and couldn't test 115 again. That's that little double top we have on the 15-minute chart here. Couldn't even get there, stalled at 113.60 or 70. lower high, yesterday's lower high, underneath 113. This afternoon, like if it wasn't for better things, like 113 looks like a good level. It's got a nice little head and shoulders, but it's just stronger than the other chip names, which you have to respect to a certain degree. Like I always look at it and say, well, like there's Intel, it's down, and since the morning, like that's been trending down. Like top, lower high, AMD, top, same high, now underneath VWAP. Whereas NVIDIA is above VWAP. So by rule for myself, I would short the other names, even though 113 looks good. Obviously, there's a problem going on with 115 on NVIDIA. So that's the reason I'm shorting other names. But you can't ignore this last week, this little wall here, the 115. Good news would be that you're making higher lows into it. So it is forming a bit of a wedge. So until it stops being relatively strong, there's at least in theory the chance that we break out that 115 level. For the day trade, I kind of feel like you're shorting into tops today. That's just how it feels, but there's weaker chip names to pick on than NVIDIA. And I heard Joe say he still likes NVIDIA as the best of the Mag 7 names. And I think a lot of people feel, in the chip land, I think most people will feel in the chips, that's the best place to go. Like I don't
Thank God Joe likes it.
What? No, I'm just expanding on the point. What? I just meant that it's not a crazy thing that we think AMD and Intel are relatively weak compared to NVIDIA. That's not a crazy statement. I just thought I'd throw in that Joe also liked it. It didn't mean anything by it.
Right. If Joe likes it, then,
no, I care more about what Joe. I mean, Joe's. It's the UFC picks that are on fire. I'm just kidding. I know what happened. The other guy had a better ground and pound game. That's why I know what happened. He kept taking our boy down, who I thought was supposed to be the favorite. When I'm watching a UFC fight, and I think like in my head, because when I watch boxing, I can usually, if I don't know anything about the fighters, and I'll see it, I can tell you in the first round who the favorite is, generally speaking, just by how it's going. And if you didn't tell me anything, Joe, I would never have guessed that the Russian wasn't the better dude. The other guys, he's not. Volkanovski's not. Okay, that's my bad. But it's just like he looked like the better guy the whole way. So I'm like, why would we be on this other dude? Because this man is controlling the fight. We're back in the wrong horse, dude. We're back in the wrong horse. But it is what it is. I think with NVIDIA, you're back in the right one. That's the point.
No, man, your picks are pretty good, man. There's nothing wrong with your picks. I've liked NVIDIA for a minute. I mean, today, yeah, it's nicely that it's where it is right now. But you guys know what's going on. You can see the trades right here. I'm net short everything. So, for today, I don't think I'll be stepping into this long. But again, if you just want to look back at yesterday, you could see you had this huge move down, and then we basically just sat on VWAP all day. Well, we didn't sit on it, but when we came up to it, we looked at it and then basically got faded off of it every single time. Today, VWAP doesn't really give you that much, 200 period, 50. So when things don't really line up for me, there's not much to do. I would say that now the only thing left, and I'm not going to do it because it's red on the day, and I'm not going to look for short in a name that's up. I would rather look at, like we looked at Intel. You can see crushing Intel, right? This 111.75, like if that breaks, then I would say see you later, right? We were looking at another name. CoreWeave's not going to be on there, but I just wanted to see. Let me see. Did that break through yet? No. So this is a name here. I was just gonna, before it happens, I just wanted to note to everybody, I'm still peed off about Boeing. Like that should have been a $4 winner. Right here, $40 break lower right there on CoreWeave could bring something. So you're going to have to pay for shorts if you do like it. I just wanted to bring this to everybody's attention right here at CRWV because we talked about it earlier. It hadn't broken 40 yet, and that IPO came out right there at 39.50, or was it 39? I think it was 39, that opening. Yeah, 39. It might be like 39.05. But anyways, if you break through that 40 marker, which is right here, then we could lose at least down to 39, where we'll see what happens for a defense. So right now, that's what 40 looks like on CoreWeave. So if you are on it right now, look for some downside push there on CRWV. I just wanted to get that in before we went over to what is a monster trade today. It's Apple.
Blood for Apple today. Not too much blood, Sean, but defending that $200 area, down 0.33%. No real catalyst today for Apple. There was a couple of tidbits that we got about a possible foldable iPhone being released soon for Apple. It's going to have a price tag of over $2,000 US. These are, I don't think these are leaked images, but just ideas of what the software could look like. Again, no confirmation with the company, as we typically don't get any information about upcoming products, guys.
Joe like Apple, or I'm only really worried about that. But he likes apple pie. That's right. Good one, Adara. So today, and I want to thank everybody in the chat as well, because today we had written down here Apple short 204. Right, big move down to 200, right? So we actually write that down right there on the sticky note. You can go find it at Trader TV Sean. So what happened was in the chat, I saw you guys, you're like, why are you going long? I went long trying to break that high. It didn't work, so we got out, and then we're like, yeah, let's go short. And then boom, Apple. There's the short 203.50. And what did we write down? Short to 200? Well, there's 200 and we have a fill. So that's $3 right there. Then we shorted again when it came back up there, and boom, goes the dynamite back to the downside. The only thing here, Bianca, is we did not short again right there at 203.25. So that could have been another shorting opportunity right there. But at the end of the day, it's money. You're not going to see many other trades like this where you top out, boom. Like we have Intel at a similar spot, but that was just pretty good there. I don't know what I was thinking. Randy probably distracting me here, taxes, I don't know what's going on. But right into there, we should have been re-short again. And this is what a chart looks like when you have a lot of shares. It's just my spots are just out a lot of outs, because I'm still not convinced of what this day is going to bring. You're only flat right now on the day. We've been up, we've been down. Let's see if we can hold this into the close. But like, I'm still going to get some more out here at 201.50. Like it's coming back in. I'm actually bidding. Actually, I already got that fill. I'm at 201.25 right now, waiting for a fill a little lower. So that's going to be the next one. We got out, we got back in, just back and forth a whole bunch of times there on Apple, but it's a big trade. So there it goes. Now we just have to wait for the cues to come down with it.
Yeah, Apple's a great one today for you. I actually ended up sitting out Apple because I liked 207, I think it was. And on our note today, we'll both hate on Boeing, and Boeing's not on the list. It is what it is. But I think Boeing is just frustrating for everybody, and that's why no one wants to talk about it. But it was a big news story for them, and it was a big story that I liked to the sell side, and probably could have had it work. It just never really set up well. But like I said, I like 207, which we never saw. I wanted to play it short off that. It got to 203. I had a separate entry for Intel on its own for myself. And again, Intel's its own beast. I always like shorting into prior highs, and we talked about the 20 support. So for me, like it's interesting that it's the same chart. Like I was waiting for here on Apple, and at the same moment that was setting up, basically the same trade. Like you're at 203 down to 200. So that could be like 2030 or 2040 into 20 even. And these charts, I'm going to try to line it up like this so you can see. And then I'm going to hit enter. We'll see how well. Basically the same chart. Where it was, and it's interesting that would happen, because they have nothing to do with each other. But the point is, at the open, it runs into resistance, and then if you get that one, stick with that one. At least Apple gave you that refill in the 203 to 203 quarter later on. Like the difference being, Intel gave you that refill at VWAP, so it's like top, lower highs all the way through. But as long as you ride with it in the trend, you got to be good to go. By the way, Nvidia is starting to lose the bid, which, when the strongest one left is losing the bid, there's not much that we're going to be able to hold our hat to here. We already talked about how bad Meta is. Actually, Meta's on the list there. So, yeah, we'll get to Meta. But not many things were holding up higher in Mag 7 land, and the last of them is threatening to go here with NVIDIA. At that point, it's game over. Let's go to another strong former Mag 7 name.
Yeah, I was about to say maybe an aspiring Mag 7 name. I know it was part of FANG. A great day nonetheless for Netflix here. And it's off the highs, but still clearing 5%. Lots of strength here for Netflix. Wall Street Journal reporting the company aims to double its revenue by 2030. Good look there. UBS also maintaining their buy rating on Netflix. However, dropping the price target down to $11.40, just from $11.50 though, so not a big drop there. And this company is slated, guys, to report on Thursday after the bell. So make sure to catch that on the Market Recap Show.
Yeah, it's the one this week. I mean, if it's outside of the bank, bank earnings are bank earnings, but you get the bigger ones early for the banks. Like you get the best banks last week. Oh, it's not fair to say. They get the biggest banks last week. I'm not here to play favorites, but we get the bigger better. And now all of a sudden we'll get Netflix on Thursday. But it's holding VWAP. It's still only, was it 400 billion, market cap in there. But unlike most of the market, it's holding on to the line. But look at this steady trend back in. Like we're basically teetering with a few things holding the line, which when they start to break down, I think you're in trouble. It did resist that 1,000 level. So remember, it was like this morning, 50 period, and there's your 1,000. Didn't quite get there. I think 993 might be the high. I don't know that it was close enough for anyone to short off the 1,000. It depends on, I guess, your risk strategy. For most, I would say it likely did it. But that's still a big resistance on Netflix. So it's a great step to, knock on wood, close above the 50-period moving average here. But it's still got this overhead resistance at 1,000. And I just can't wait till the day that we'll say that same thing and we'll be saying 100 instead of 1,000 because they'll finally do a reverse split, hopefully this year. That would be nice. Just follow along what Broadcom has done and follow along with what Lamb did, which we were waiting for. It just makes it a little bit better for the traders. And again, it's just easier for everyone trading options, right? The assignment's not going to be so expensive.
Netflix, yeah. So obviously we talk about Netflix all the time and we like the stock. And by the way, we just got Intel 91s. So that was a good one. All right, so Netflix. And that's the thing, man. You got to have orders out, you know, if you're going to grab those fills. So, I mean, we did, and we grabbed it. We missed out on an Apple fill earlier, which kind of bugged me. All right, well, Josh Brown came out and said that he dumped his Google shares and bought some Netflix shares. So, anyways, at the end of the day, 977 holding VWAP. Looks good to me to trade this. We've been talking about Netflix for a very long time. Even when we made our picks back in January, it was like, I really like Netflix. I mean, I like the WWE deal. I like all the live TV. Streaming is obviously not going anywhere. I don't think that that's rocket science to say anything like that. And yeah, Netflix just continues to win, sitting on a hoard of cash. What's their next play? I don't know. Do they go look at the PGA? Is there something there with live sports, plus all the content that's coming through? As this world becomes more and more globalized, you know, they have tons of content there that has dubs over it and so on and so forth. My kid is like all over the anime that they have. So yeah, I really think Netflix continues to win, and why not? Everyone looking to, you know, again, stay home. People don't even like really going to the theaters too much anymore. So yeah, Netflix, I think, continues to work, man. And I like the stock, and I think it's a buy. We've already talked about how it bounced off the 200-period moving average. It didn't even get there. So yeah, you got to like Netflix here. I think it's a winner, and if it's not part of your portfolio, I don't think it's too late to add it.
Meta almost at the day's lows, if not at the day's lows. Guy just lost 518, 2.5% in the negative. What happens right now what's happening, I should say, right now at Meta's FTC trial could dictate the direction for the company in the near future. Today, prosecutors highlighted a 2008 email by Mark Zuckerberg about the Instagram acquisition, in which Zuckerberg stated it is better to buy others than to compete, trying to frame that email and the overall strategy of Meta at the time as a tactic to neutralize a rising competitor, guys. This is exactly what's being alleged by the FTC. Don't think that this is going to be resolved too quickly. The trial is slated to run likely into July.
All right.
Yeah, I think this is one of those, when dust settles, Meta's going to be a good buy. It just...
I want to buy it.
I feel like I say the same thing with regards to these antitrust over and over again. So I'm just going to end up repeating myself. Every single one of these big cap U.S. tech names, they operate, and by but they're just like they're winning monopolies. Like they go in, they compete, and they beat the crap out of everybody else in their space, and then they end up dominant. But at the same time, America's happy. I would think you're happy that you have the winner locally. And ultimately, I think that's something that is not going to change in the short run. I don't think it's going to be the end of the world for Meta. And if it spends a little bit of time in the penalty box, that means we get a number with a 4 in front of it for a buy on Meta. I'll be really pleased with that. Ultimately, you don't want it to go down. It sucks that she's lost a 200-period moving average. But I wouldn't surprise me. We got downward sloping 50. Maybe we just trend down for a bit until you at least threaten for the 50 to hit that 200, and we can be trading in the 400s, which was a great buy. That August low, which was fantastic. I think you get anywhere near that. I'm not even sure you do. I think you get anywhere near that. That's going to be another good buy. I've already bought once this quarter. Well, sorry, check that. I bought last quarter. I've been waiting for earnings this quarter or a level like the mid 400s. That's the way I want to look at it. When I'm buying slowly in what I think is a pullback market, then I usually wait for after an earnings season or just like the big level to come in and try not to diddle around in the middle because you're in a downward trend. So you wait around patiently for it. Ideally, that'll be like 440, 450, or we wait till they probably have a good number on those earnings. So I like Meta. And Rohit, I promise, we'll get to your super chat once we're done the rundown.
All right, so Meta reports 2025. Wait a second. April 30th, it looks like. So
end of the month.
Yeah, April 30th, right there, Q1 for Meta. So we're gonna wait to see what winds up happening. Yeah, so they already reported right there. Yeah, so right there, Q1. So confirmed up there, April the 30th. So we'll get it in 2 weeks. We'll have Meta 2 weeks tomorrow, 2 weeks yesterday. Oh, what I wanted to check out with that also actually was I wanted to check out what Meta's PE was because you're still in this area here, 20 to 22. So a great PE there for this name, forever growing. I don't think that there's going to be any need to think otherwise with Meta. Again, I still like the ad business for them. Instagram is literally every time. I mean, I say this all the time. Every time someone's born, you get another Instagram account. So, like the stock, like everything about it, and I think you can buy it as well. I mean, I like Netflix and Meta. I like them equally, actually. So buy either one of those ones, and I think it's again, if you have money on the sidelines, I still think the Nasdaq is going to go get hit a little bit. But if you don't and you want to get long, you should probably get long now. We always talk about sort of the decay, especially in options and things like that, as you get closer and closer to the earnings report. So if you believe that the Q1 for them is going to be good, which maybe, then we'll hit that, right? The tariffs are just a thing now. I don't even know how they're affected by tariffs other than weaker consumer could affect their ad business, right? Because if all of a sudden a Nike or whomever, one of their big ad, Coca-Cola or whoever's using Meta to advertise, they probably would have pulled back, right, on some of these uncertainties. So definitely there's a play there. Nothing wrong with waiting for the quarter to come through. It's just right now I'm giving you 2 weeks warning before this number comes out. So if you want to start to dip buy, put 5% in now, pick up like a 550 option, something like that, a call, then nothing wrong with doing that immediately, but just make sure that you have the expiry. April 30th is the report. So that's going to be after market. So
the other thing too is after the report, you get a chance to get that peak you get in the teens, right? Like that's another thing to think about. Meta in the teens is just like, that's a go zone for sure. OST probably doesn't have a PE in the teens. I can promise you that. Although, I shouldn't say that because one of these days you'll say this about like a small cap runner, you'll pull it up and then it'll be like way more fundamentally sound,
right,
don't you think?
Yeah.
What I can say about OST with 100% certainty is its market cap is bigger than that of Mullen. OST?
All right, OST guys. Hey, Randy. OST, a small cap gapper that was really squeezing up aggressively during the midday. It's got a float of around 1.3 million shares, a negligible short float though, guys, off the highs, but still up 287%.
Oh, Randy, funny guy. I haven't traded OST nor looked at it, but you have it up. So what do you think about OST?
I don't think too much about it. What's interesting about it on the daily chart is it kind of went to, I put this in the chat as it was happening. Hey, look, if you're long this, when you zoom it out, 420 to 440 and that's pretty much exactly where it squoze to. I think the most interesting thing is it'll be like hindsight 2020. I was looking at what's its face today, Webull. Like that was the only like runner type name that I was going to take a shot at. I did take a shot at Webull and missed. But OST, it's that whole $1 thing. Like I don't know why you'd be looking at, if there's a reason to have been looking at this early, because it wasn't doing volume when it took the dollar. So if you got it really early, congratulations. What is interesting is when it bounced off the dollar later, when there then was volume on the stock. Because volume had come in, it came right back in and bounced off the dollar and then started running. So I think that was something that, you're looking back in hindsight, at that point in the morning, like I know what I'm doing at 10. When this is bouncing at 10:40, I can tell you exactly what I was doing for sure, because in that moment, like I wanted to get VWAP on Intel, and I was over on AMD in that moment. So wanted to get VWAP on one stock, was in VWAP on another stock, so I wouldn't have seen that probably popping off your scanner on volume coming into $1, where you could have, in theory, and I don't know what liquidity was like down here, but in theory, it looks like you could have just hit 120 and put a stop either at the low, which was 10 cents lower, or like at the even dollar, and then you have yourself a runner. Chasing it up here, maybe you get something off VWAP. It's done 84 million shares, so there's actually really good liquidity on this stock. So that 84 million, maybe you get something off the volume weighted average price this afternoon for a bit of a bounce play, but that's about all I'll say about that. And I did promise that we'd go in and make sure we talked about the super chat here. We had Rohit ask our opinion on Lucid. I know Randy has some things that he will say, and it's always he prefers Rivian to Lucid. From a fundamental standpoint, I'll let others talk about Lucid fundamentally. That's not for me to say because I'm not some expert on the cars. I don't know. I'm not going to be able to wax poetic about their outlook. What we have been able to say before, and did happen again, which is crazy, because every time we pull up this chart, we say the same thing, and then somehow miss when it bounces off $2, because it did bounce off $2 again. There's just buyers at $2. And the last bounce off this wasn't even like it was very, very clean off $2. This is a dark pool wick. This is the bounce. And then from there, like you hold at 205. The next day you get a higher low, and then it just runs right into that 250, 260. So the number of, I don't know how many more times you're able to do this on Lucid, but it does feel like at some point it runs out of juice. You don't bounce off a high like this over and over and over again on Lucid and then not eventually, or a low like this, and then not eventually break. Either it follows through or we lose $2. Until then, your trade's off $2. NEO did something similar for a while, and then eventually it broke. But you can take advantage of it while you can. But there's nothing else to look at but 2 even.
Okay, so Webull is now halted, and this is the level that I talked about over and over again, $40. So get ready. Let's just see if we're right. Like I was like, if we ever get anywhere near here, we have to be punching out. So right now it's going to open back up. I don't know. Let me see. It should be a 5-minute halt. Let's see, because it looks like it's going to be volatility. Limit up, limit down. 31s. Okay, so we're getting close right now. 35, 36 seconds. Sorry. We should open up 36 minutes. I don't know exactly the second there that it's going to be. But yeah, we're excited for it. Let's see what winds up happening right now with Webull. Looks like it wants to come out and give us a shot here. And I don't know. I hope no one's really too long right now on Webull. It looks like it wants to go the other way, guys. So yeah, just pay attention to it. I still think there's something here with the name. And yeah, it's going to be one of two things. Either it bounces like right now clean really nicely off of $40, or we absolutely tank. And this was the problem with it, and I showed you guys this yesterday, where if we broke through this area, we don't know what's below this. So a bunch of halts there. Like I was saying, the air is pretty thin down here, and yeah, just wait to see where we wind up going now with Webull, and I'm excited to see where it opens back up. But whoops, underneath VWAP, I mean, these kind of bigger stocks that trade like this, that's the worry, is when you're underneath VWAP and all of a sudden the sellers are in control.
There's a story.
And then there's a nice move back into the downside for Webull.
So, and shout out to who was in the chat, crap stock. Well, that's kind of aptly put. Sorry, I was just looking at OST, but there's a story on Bull, and let me just pull it back up so I can read it here for you. Charles Gasparino posts on X, Scoop. as lawmakers pressure regulators and exchanges to delist or remove China-based stocks if they violate U.S. disclosure laws. The latest company to come under scrutiny in Congress is Webull Global, which just listed on the NASDAQ exchange, quote unquote, sources tell me.
Yeah, I see
So
that.
it's another one of those like sources tell me.
It still was 10% down.
Yeah, well, it's volatility halt
yeah.
on that story.
We'll see what happens.
And just because it just Omega, but just remember we had that people threaten
It's
the
gone.
delisting and this and that all the time. It doesn't necessarily
39. Oh, there's the
going
bounce.
to delist.
Yeah, so this is
doesn't mean
the
it's gonna
spot right now, right here, right now. It's just bounced off $40 pretty cleanly there. It did touch down to $39.50 or so, but here's Webull live for you right now as we continue to watch to see where we go now with Webull. Back up, see, there we go. So these are the levels, right? These are the levels that we talked about. Where does it go from here now, Webull? It just up to 42. It could halt news pending, but that news is already out. And again, it's just a story there from Charles Gasparino of Fox. So we'll have to wait to see if there's anything there. I mean, if that story is true about the delist and them looking into all that kind of stuff, as far as Chinese, maybe there would be something on Robinhood. Nothing's happening over there.
So just, and Ozan's putting it in there, and this is a good point by Ozan. Sources told me, but SEC approved it to be listed. This is so stupid, Ozan's saying. And you are right about that. It just obviously did get approval to be listed. There's one circumstance that I can think of where something like this happened. You just came to the exchange, you then just get the boot, and that would be, remember, Didi, and that had in common the whole Chinese aspect to it. So we have seen something like that before, where you don't last very long. It was a little bit of a different story with Didi, because there was some accounting stuff, and that's what it was referring to mostly. But it's not completely unprecedented that just because you got approved to come to market, that means you're good to go and won't get delisted right away. I'm not saying it's going to happen, but there is some precedence for it. Let's go to Adair.
Here is Webull. So I read through this whole Charles Gasparino post. It's worth noting a lot of his posts as of late have been moving the market. They're mostly speculation or just sources, unnamed sources telling him things. But here's the deal with this Webull. So basically, I guess there's some concern because Webull is not necessarily a Chinese company, but they are, I guess, owned and operated under a Chinese company, Hunan Fumi Information Technology. That is a Chinese holding company. Apparently, one of its backers includes Xiaomi. So lots of Chinese tech connections there through Webull, just who actually runs it. So basically what happened here is he heard one senator is asking another senator to look into Webull. So that's really all that's happening here. Apparently, the senator, Rick Scott, who started all of this, said that he expects incoming SEC chairman Paul Atkins to investigate the operation of Webull. And it's worth noting here, too, Charles Gasparino ends his X post by saying we'll get more when he appears on Fox Business at 3:45. So looks like he's going to be getting more into this story at 3:45. This post is basically a teaser for his Fox Business appearance. So I want to make all of that pretty clear. Not a lot of details, and it really at this point just seems like some senators are in talks on this. There does not seem like there's any regulatory action happening as of yet. Back to you.
Yeah, I mean, they could also, just getting caught up in some of this tit for tat back and forth. Just be careful with it. Like I said, it happened before. I don't remember how long Didi was listed. We were just sort of amongst ourselves. It was a short period. It wasn't very long. I'd have to go back and look, but I remember the same thing, and everyone got rugged. It's like, how could you possibly delist a stock? You just approved them to come into the market, and everyone bought the IPO, and they got absolutely destroyed. And the difference with Webull is there's also detached from the fundamentals, the move that's happening that you see in it. I guess maybe we're not going to get the kind of price action that would lend us getting up to VWAP on AMD. There's just a lot of barcoding going on this afternoon. Like a big move, barcode, fake out, barcode, barcode. So the play might be to just sit in the barcodes in the direction that you want it, right? So if you want short, sit in the range and try to pick it up in the 20s and see if you can't work it in that regard. So that's what I'll do over in AMD. Bull is still holding the bid. So if that's the news on speculation, I mean, it doesn't seem all that solid to get it delisted, but let's see how it responds into the 45 or like 46, where there was like a lot of sellers in there before. And your OST, it's OST or OTS?
Yes.
OST.
OST, yeah.
I don't know why I have OTS on the brain. OST just broke the downtrend and is now heading right back into the upside. So no pullback into VWAP. This is your low float, or, well, I don't know the float, but I'm assuming it's a low float. It probably is. I'll double check. If anyone really cares, you can always just look it up. But it is your runner, your 300% runner, almost 100 million shares. It'll do 100 million shares today, but it's broken the trend. A little distracted by Webull there, but I think if it's not going to get to VWAP, playing it off this $3 level, or at least this 320, if it can hold, I don't know if it gets back to the high of the day, but if you can go 3/4 to 375, that would look pretty good. So I'm going to try to weasel my way in if there is going to be something to the upside here for a low float runner. Love to. Jake Witter doesn't like the Webull platform. Never used it, so I can't speak to the platform. I think I know one person. I know one person who does, and I don't know that they're. I don't know. They say they like it, but I don't know how crazy active they are. So
Right. Yeah. Okay, yeah. So, okay, I mean, that's interesting. Thanks, Adara, for clarifying and bringing us like the news that, they have that Chinese affiliation, right? And so I think that that's obviously something that, we all want to make sure that we watch out for that. All right, so, I mean, the market is kind of like, I don't know. I mean, it had some moves today, right? I mean, this is where we opened up. So we open up right in this range. Nice move to the high side, 19,150. Then the fall back down. We can talk about this because we had shares in this move, and we have shares right now in this move. But now, we just touched the 50-period moving average, and I just wonder what exactly that means. Are we now running back up to VWAP, or the 50-period hasn't meant a whole heck of a lot? So realistically, I'm looking at like breaking this area, maybe even this area. I don't even want to get back up to VWAP and hold this short. So I look at the NASDAQ, and then I say the same thing about these TQQs, and we just take a piece out right there at 60. We're short at 97 up here. We just averaged this all the way back in. So obviously a great little short there that's been happening. I'm going to try again at 80 if we can get it. I wasn't sitting there the first time. So if we can get 49.80, I'm still going to stop out if we break up through $50. So that's it's not the 200 period right now, but it's going to be. So right there, once this 200 period is broken, then we can get out. It's like it's trending higher, and then we break it right there. And then now since we've been lower, so we don't really want to be involved if it breaks it again. So we're already in our position, happy with it. I think I like these trades right now. We'll be short the market. And I just got out because it was the 50 period. I do have another bid here at 55s. Then I have one at 40s right down into here. And then we'll worry about the 20s if and when we get there. But I'm still looking to short 10 more cents higher. And we'll get something at 49.80. And then after that, the out's at $50. I feel real good about it. Like, if you want to go up to 50-20, fine. I'm not going to do that, but I like the fact that the 200 period is right here. We've seen these highs hold before, and boom, to the downside. So let's see if it does work out. Again, Apple below VWAP. So we haven't taken any outs in this in a minute, but we still do have a good short. We don't have that many shares left, but at the end of the day, it's a nice little move back in. We'll see if we can get something. I am bidding. Let me tell you where I'm bidding Apple right now. 201.60s. So that must be, so a little bit lower than obviously where we are now into this area. So we're going to try to bid Apple into here, 201.60. We're actually bidding 61s. So if we can get that, feel great. And then again, a little lower than that. We're going to stop out always around the same spot. My Apple stop out I actually have written just right here, 203.65. It looks like 75 break, so we'll double check that stop out right there. All right, there goes the Qs moving higher. So yeah, this one could be a stop out. We had on about half a unit. Now we'll have on about 1 unit as we put on some more shares there. We're just going to give this up to 50. I could put on something else, but again, if the market's going to be pretty snoozy right now and make this move higher, we could easily get stopped out, and then it tanks. So I'm going to hold on to this position with our 1 unit and see if we can get lower. We're short right now at 87, so our trade kicks us out at O's. So just making sure we have that trigger in. I actually have slightly higher than $50.06. So if we get up to that level, then we're going to stop out. But that's right into there. So one more short, maybe at 95 here on the TQs. We'll see if we can get 2 units or so on this trade. And we'll work it off from there. So 94s, we're sitting around and waiting to see if we can get some more short, though. Did I ever buy that Rivian? No. Actually, even the stock, I'm still long around 11.25 or so on this stock. We sold some at 18, pretty much all of it. And it went up there twice. And this is why it's been so far a minute. We sold it way back into here, right into here is where we sold because we
that was
it was so long ago. I didn't even remember about it. That's back in the summertime.
Yeah,
there's what I mean coming back twice. I could have got out of what we had left right there, but didn't do it. Now it's come all the way back in. So $10 now for Rivian. I mean, that's going to be the Randy spot there that he likes.
$10 is the $2 for Lucid.
Yeah, and I don't really
like, pick your poison.
I don't really like Rivian, man. I mean, I just think they burn through so much cash. Remember, this was $108. Up went up to $180 on its IPO.
You'll like it when you drive it.
Oh, it's not about the car quality. It's
No,
about
I've
the
never
stock.
driven it. It's because you said Marissa likes it.
Oh yeah. Well, whatever. She's the boss. Whatever she wants. But at the end of the day, it's a huge move down for Rivian. And I don't like. I'm trying to be done buying garbage stocks. And honestly, like Rivian, trying to catch the sword and trying to pick the bottom, nah. Like if they can come up with a report and boom, they're still losing. Again, you guys double check it. I mean, we could. I think it's in the 30s per car.
I thought it was 35,000.
They lose. Yeah, so I'm not like
I could be wrong, but I think it was 35.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying too. I think it's in the 30s, so I think you're close to that. So yeah, for me, it's going to be a pass on Rivian. I don't have that much interest in owning more of this company. So if anything, like Tesla, at least we can get the robotics behind there. We can get robotics would be.
Well, you can get the ability to make cars at a profit, is what you can get.
Well, that too, and then plus you also have, these cars are being made in America as well. Automated driving and robotaxi is the word I was looking for.
There was a study, before we go to that very quickly, there was a study done, and they were talking about the 10, there was some caveats to this, but it was like the 10 models of car, which were the most quote-unquote American-made.
Okay.
Said there were caveats because they did include some things that kind of were assembled, some parts in Mexico and Canada. Mm-hmm. But I think it was 4 of the top 10 were Tesla.
Right.
Believe it or not. I don't think Rivian made that list, which is weird. But anyways, let's go to Dara. And I have something to say about buying crap stocks, but we'll come back with that.
I looked into this Rivian loss per vehicle situation here because I was curious to just kind of give the whole story. So the story is they lose a lot per vehicle, but they used to lose more per vehicle, so that is worth noting here. The most recent quarter I can find this data on would be Q3 2024. During that quarter, they lost almost $40,000 per vehicle, so that would be an average of $39,130 lost per vehicle manufactured. But again, this number used to be a lot worse. In the end of fiscal 2022, at one point they were losing over $100,000 per vehicle. I'm seeing $100,024, $162 per vehicle for lost in Q4 2022. So they used to lose a lot more than they are currently losing. This 40,000, obviously not great, but it has historically been a little bit worse for the company, guys. Back to you.
It's not getting worse. I mean, it should be getting. Imagine it gets worse.
With
these tariffs, I don't know.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm saying. Like, if you're in that spot, it's getting worse. You're in trouble. Now, the problem. Look, we're not in the same market. Like the last 2 years, when you found stocks at the bottom, it was just better. And I'll use the example because I followed plan on Snowflake. I followed plan on Alibaba. I didn't follow the plan the first two times on SoFi and didn't follow plan the first time on Rivian, eventually did. No, when you were getting bottoms in stocks and like nice little trend breaks and it holds at 50, you were getting good breakouts and there was some sustainment of the moves and you were laughing, but it's just a different year now. Like we're revisiting these lows on weakness and suddenly the level of patience as things get back into that level just needs to be higher. Well, I was in Rivian as well, and I don't have an issue taking a shot at this again. I always try to have a certain percentage of my TFSA, which is like a swing type account. It's like a tax-free savings account that I believe are in sort of long-term, I don't want to say risky places is the wrong way to go. And that's light right now because there's not much I like. One of those was just sitting in Rivian. I'm like, why am I even sitting in it? I like getting into these when they're breaking the 50-period moving average, which it did twice. And it was good both those times. I only took profit the second time, but it's not even doing that now. I want it breaking that 50 period again, and then I can try to get back into an upward trend hold instead of just sitting at the lows. That's the way I like to play them. We'll see what happens. Can you look at Bull? I haven't looked at Webull since the reopen. It was at 46. Yeah, it's right. I mean, it's hanging out at 44 right now with almost $1 spread on it. So widespread, it's probably had a widespread all day long, but it bounced off that halt down with the delisting, quote unquote, talk, and now you're seeing it just kind of chilling out 44, 45. Volumes really died down here on Webull. There was a big spike to the downside for the halt, and since then, not a lot of action. OST, which did break trend there, and then dipped into this prior bar. Well, if I'm following rules, it's now consolidated. Usually I'll move the stop here to this bar when it's consolidated lower without breaking the top. And that's one thing that I've noted. If a trend reversal isn't going right away, then two things happen. I'm either tightening the stop or scalping out or punching out. Because if it's not working, not instantly is not the right word, but if it's not working fast, that's the point. The whole point of a trend reversal is it's supposed to go relatively quickly, bouncing away from that level. So it's kind of with trend, but that downward trend just broke. So I'm tightening the stop just underneath the 20 level, not giving it to 3, because it's not flying right now. Volume's just not going anywhere.
Yeah, volume. We're short Qs, so we're taking some profit on that one right now on the futures. But right here, it is Profit X time. If you want top tier odds and total control, Profit X brings you peer-to-peer picking, open. I mean, I think this is awesome. API access for automation and cost-efficient trading all in one place. It's like day trading your favorite sports. Make offers, match plays, build bids, build asks, and even manage your risk with diverse prediction options. Don't just place picks, exchange them. Profit X, the smarter, faster way to play. Users can use code TRADERTV, one word, TRADERTV, to get our sign-up offer, 2% cash back, up to $300, and register, log in, get an account immediately, hit that QR code, just go check it out, sign up, let us know what you think of Profit X. And again, it's just the odds, I've already double checked them many times, we've showed them live here on the show. They have been much better than a FanDuel or anything like that.
I bet you even for like the playing games.
Oh, for everything.
The actual is huge on the play.
All right, man, here we go. While we wait for OST to do something, and we're already in Intel, we've been really crushing that one. But here we go again with the TQs. So there it goes, man. We're here. We are that trader with the futures, and there it goes to the downside. So we just trading this. We'll see if it does anything. I mean, there's the 200 period. We talked about where we were going to get stopped out. Does not break our back there, and then just comes right back down in. So I'm going to start to really just piece this out now because we have this nice level. We've been getting out right here at 70 a little bit. I would love for this to come down here and then break a little bit lower. Potentially the market wants to do that. So we'll wait to see if there is going to be a second for us to breathe on TQs and make that move a little bit lower. But I'm already out at 50% of it. So that was just a good take up there. That's all. We averaged in. We talked about getting 2 units. So 1 unit there, 1 unit there. So now getting them all out underneath our first unit. So there it is, man. Just like Randy Johnson, the big unit here on TQs. Let's figure out where we go from there. So there it is, like basically a nice trade on that one. So we'll wait. If it does break higher, we're out. So we've already covered there. It's going to be a good one on the futures. I mean, I can see my net there working out quite nicely. Intel right back at these levels. I mean, we might as well take another bid at 91 there if we can get it. I'll just quickly switch over to Apple to see what that's doing. So still hanging out above VWAP, so not in love with that by any stretch of the imagination. But yeah, it could be a trade there as well. Intel, did we get that? Yeah, we got the 91 there on Intel. The other trade that we have is nothing. So those are the ones that we have right now. I'm seeing that XYZ
Square. Block.
Yeah, no, I know. Block. Not really moving, but I just showed up there. I don't know why it showed up on my scanner. I don't know. XYZ, unique name there, Square showing up, not doing anything. So, yeah, basically, I'm just going to watch these TQs. We're 15 cents away from getting stopped out. I'm not going to reload it because if we were to put on the unit back on again and we get stopped out, then basically we would just wash all of that. So I'm not... it's hard enough to trade. I'm sure you can see that. So we're just going to wait to see where it goes from here. I still like the trade, but I'm not going to add to this position here because now the market's trying to go. We already said that it probably looks at VWAP. VWAP on the main account, like the NQs, is 19,000 flat. So that could be something there too, right? So we'll wait to see if it bounces off. If it does, we can regroup. But for right now, that's what I'm doing. I'm just sitting back and relaxing and trying to see what winds up happening here with our favorite ETF to trade. I guess not really an ETF, but the TQQ. I guess it is.
It is an ETF.
Yeah, sure. Why not? Yeah, it's a triple levered one, but there it is, man. The TQ. So I'm going to sit there and wait for it. Trading the Nasdaq, it's always fun times, but it can be very dangerous if you don't have your stops. That's for sure.
Yeah, well, stops are going to matter. I'll quickly show you over here. As quick as you like, it's a Sharifism. I got filled at 360, or right in front of 360. It was at like 58 or I think 58 or 57. Got the spike up, filled at first resistance. Next, it wasn't even like the same candle. You're coming right back in. And remember, when I'm trading these, the stop always moves up. Time frame stop. If it hits a new high, the stop goes higher, so I move the stop into break even, so I wouldn't turn it into a loser. If it doesn't go right away on this trend break, like I want that going here and then going there. End of story. Like I want to get it in the 80s, I want to get it in the 60s, and with the 330 long with the stop underneath the 20 level. We get one fill at 60, it then broke back out. I don't know if the volume's going to pick back up again. I'd like to see even like retrending volume back to the upside. It's still lower volume on this down move that we're seeing. Is it Nguyen? I can't pronounce your name, and apologies, but you said Boeing drop. And, you know, Boeing is a frustrating stock for me today. Well, you know, it's a frustrating stock for me today. I will say that it's not really dropping that much, which is part of the frustration. I got top wicked on Boeing. I didn't make the top wick, but it gets the same thing effectively. Like you get out and that ends up the local high. It then gave a trend break, which I took, and then I shorted that same level again. This is the one trade that I'm just like, ugh, that's the one trade. I don't mind like shorting it into the level I like early, but re-shorting a trend break level just because it was the level that it broke the trend earlier is a big no-no. Why? Because the trend break has nothing to do with the price level. It has everything to do with the upward trend breaking. That price, if anything, you want to confirm that it's doing a trend break there again, which it obviously never did. And so yeah, frustrations for me in Boeing. It didn't make a big move just now. I know you said Boeing dropped. I think it went like 15 cents when you said it. But Boeing I still feel overall bearish on this thing on the 15-minute chart. Just have to find a better way to express the trade. I think the lesson learned was maybe let it run some stops on Boeing and then get into the trade earlier on. But it still feels a little bit bearish when you zoom it out. Just a tricky trade today for sure. There was something else that I was going to get to, but it'll come to me in a second. Might have been something Chinese. Yeah,
here I have some huge wins on Boeing, but unfortunately, it's that last one that I'm going to be the most upset about because, you know, we had double the short. It wasn't even that big of a position, but we had double the short there. And you want to talk about getting top wicked? I mean, I'm pretty sure we made the high of the day right there at 159.07. So, you know, sometimes we get lucky and we don't get stopped out like that TQ's position where it runs basically right to our level and then comes right back in. We got stopped out and then this happened. So we were short 159, and yeah, so that's like a day maker there, unfortunately, if we still had it, but we don't have it, so it doesn't really matter. But yeah, Boeing today, a little tricky for sure. I thought it would have been down a lot more than that. We had that story there about China refuting the planes, and then all of a sudden, you know, it made that move higher. Just was not expecting that. I have to stop out. Initially, I'd put it on the sticky note here at 148. Oh, sorry, 158 short, I believe. Yeah, 158 short sell. So we didn't really have it to begin with. That was that stop right there. Then when it comes back up and runs again to 159, I'm like, okay, it's $1 higher than where we thought. Maybe we should have maybe gone long, but the long was also not accurate as well. So, you know, we have the lows of the day in our account a couple times here, but at the end of the day, it all doesn't matter because we're stopped out and we're going to be red on Boeing. There, we got stopped out there. That was about flat there. We made money. Then we took short, out, stopped out. Short again, out, stopped out. So red, but not by much. But just letting you guys know that there goes Boeing to the downside. So great call out in the chat. And I think it's a good name to trade. You want to trade stock when they do upsize volume. That was why it was on the sticky note today, right? I mean, these are the trades that we want to focus on day after day. Good opportunities, high volume trades that give us something to look at, right? And I think Boeing was one of those trades. So Palantir, yeah, I mean, I love Palantir. I mean, I know that you guys are saying, I just saw it. It is the hour of power that we're on board right now with. So, okay, so let's just keep on going then. There goes Palantir. Yeah, at day's high, up 5.7%. Yesterday, they got a NATO contract. Today, they just are the greatest stock ever, apparently. Nice bounce into VWAP right there. Nice bounce off VWAP. VWAP nowhere near. Now taking out highs, $98. Yes, sir. My pick of the year for Palantir. When we said buy this name, it was at the beginning of the year when we had that Jimmy Carter stuff that we had talked about. Probably the only winner that I have right now, although Coinbase might be close to getting near there as well. And then we have the Dow Jones. That's still down about 7 or 8%. But there it is, man. Palantir up 6% and going again is PLTR. Nicely traded to the upside as we continue a little bit higher through $98. I mean, trying to find out where to go now on Palantir. You're already way up on the week. So we go over to a daily chart and look at that. It is right back at this level again, 98.25s. I think you could go short if you wanted to. I just don't know if the short is the right play off of that level right now, 98.25. So watch out for that as Palantir is coming right up. I just showed you we zoom out. Sometimes zooming out gives you those looks that you need, and I think it does right there as well for us on Palantir. So good look there on PLTR. It looks like 98.25 or so is a level to be concerned with there for PLTR. So yeah, good day so far for that stock. But yeah, you had to have been in it, right, to take the advantage of it. So 97 up to 98, great trade, great look by those of you guys and girls in the chat. So good look on Palantir. We like the stock. Dara?
Beware here, Meta's antitrust trial is still very much underway, and we have the second day of testimony for Meta's CEO, Mark Zuckerberg. Apparently, they just referenced here some emails he sent back in 2018 where he actually suggested the possibility of selling Instagram for basically, he said one of the reasons anyway was that he said there's a, quote, non-trivial chance that we will be forced to spin out Instagram and perhaps WhatsApp in the next 5 to 10 years anyway. So Zuckerberg seemingly acknowledging in these emails the possibility of a trial or a situation like this where he's forced to spin out some of the companies that Meta has acquired in these emails. Just aware here, this trial is still going on here. FTC with Meta potentially trying to break up the company. Back to you.
We've heard this song and dance. Like, we've heard this song and dance before. You know what? I don't envy having to sit through those. You ever watch?
No, he hasn't been there in a while, so hopefully I'll get that all figured out.
Yeah, they don't look like fun because there's the whole. There's that whole like if your job is to get reelected when you get your chance in a major situation like this to either question or make a name for yourself. In front of like a Zuckerberg, let's just say some people take full advantage of it, which makes it difficult to watch those things. No, it was Alibaba. It was I want to talk about Alibaba just quickly in here. Alibaba, I was in this. I don't know what happened specifically in terms of why it volume spiked. The market caught a little bit of a bid, but I was shorting it off the 13 level, and it still looks very, very valid. Can we come to my chart for a second? It still looks very, very valid. It was yesterday's low in the afternoon that turned into like this resistance spot. I was respecting VWAP. It's kind of close to breaking down, although it is power hour right now. A lot of times the Chinese ADRs don't necessarily love them in the afternoon, but it's still respecting the area that I like short. Just don't know if we're going to have enough juice. Like I keep looking back to see if OST is going to pick up in volume. It hasn't yet. That's not really doing much of anything. If we get a late breakdown in BABA, I'll keep my eyes on the imbalances. It'd be nice if, like, maybe you get like one of the ETFs with a big sell imbalance. That could help it maybe move to the downside. You're not really seeing anything early. UiPath is here every single day. I don't know what's up with that. I just feel every time we look at this in the afternoon, UiPath is 2.5 million to sell, and we never even pull it up. I wonder if it's actually even bothering to me.
You are right about that. It is always on there.
It's been at least, since for like a week and a half maybe? So what's it doing at around 2 o'clock? So this time it's like a sell imbalance, it goes up. Sell imbalance was after 2. It keeps on going up at the low of the day. If it was going down from like 2:30, 3 o'clock on those sell imbalances, maybe there'd be a trade. I guess someone just wants to sell UiPath and is taking advantage of it. In here, but just note that since it's been hanging around this range underneath $11, somebody keeps throwing an order really, really early into the auction, meaning that they want to get rid of shares without moving the market much. That can't necessarily bode well for the stock, but it hasn't been moving it for a trade. That's neither here nor there. But BABA could be an opportunity. OST, maybe there's something else doing better volume. I'm not seeing anything pop off on my trade rate here. Like you've got the usual suspects and none of them going crazy right now. Tesla, SPY. A lot of times when the market's not moving much and you see the indexes at the top of your hot list for trade rate, that really means there's nothing happening. Because if the market's slow and it's all the indices there, then no individual names are topping this list or having a big trade rate. So getting into something, it doesn't make a heck of a lot of sense. I think the only offer I have out is to get more short Intel if it pops back into the lower high. That's about it. So let me know what you guys are trading. If there's anything, you got questions on there, let us know for sure. Is that true, Darwin? Hegseth is on administrative leave?
Yep, I just heard that, yeah. I think it was for that leaked WhatsApp group or text chain there.
Yeah,
it said like for compromising something or like something like that. So, Easy will be gone for a minute. Probably still paid, of course. Hard job there. All right, so right back in there, 49.70. So we wind up getting it. So let's just go awesome because at least we got the fill. I mean, I don't know if the Qs are actually doing anything that's awesome or not right now. But we did get that fill right back into that same level again. So we talked about reshorting it and getting back out. So that's what we did. We did not reshort it, but we did mention that those were the levels that we were looking at. So if you are into it and you did short with me because you hadn't been short already, then there it is, man, 20 handles or so on that play, a little bit more than that. But at the end of the day, it looks like it wants to go higher. We said that it looks like the market wants to test that view up. Let me look at Tesla. We haven't looked at Tesla in a minute here. So okay. So now green on the day. So that's nice. Basically with the market here. So that's also nice. Tesla right now green with the market, also green. And look at this, man, little smiley face action here, right off the 50-period moving average, so that's always nice. You like to see that hold. So another move back into 252. Looks like that's going to be some decent support. So if you are on this name, nothing wrong with saying, hey, man, what about this 252 hold? Looks like you should be able to get something there. If it breaks lower, I mean, I don't know, $1, is it really worth it there? I don't know. I'd rather sort of hold out hope that it's a better long than it is a short right now. Market's still underneath VWAP. I mean, I wish I could say something different about some of these names, but not much is happening. Robinhood right now, this could be, pretty barcoding again, very similar to the market. You know what, maybe let's go to banks. Let's see what's going on with banks. So BAC, of course, on their report today. So this looks like it might want to break a little lower there. Right now, doing absolutely nothing. Is it worth throwing some money into this at this level for today? Remember, Neil and I have to be flat at the end of every single day, and today's a day, so that would be included in that. So I don't know if BAC is going to move or not in this last virtually 40 minutes or so until the imbalance is. BAC right now underneath. I like the short better than the long, but just, the trend is this way. You're just at VWAP. I could see almost a nothing burger right there. Let's go over to JP Morgan, see if that's holding anything. Okay, so JP Morgan looks a lot better for at least a trade idea right now, just continuously going lower, and actually might have found something else right there, because if we zoom back out, maybe we could see yesterday's lows coming into play right here again. So yeah, this is either, you think the market's a little sideways right now and actually has a chance to get back to the upside. Right here, 233.50 has been the bottom. That was the bottom yesterday. Again, I stopped charting at 430, so I don't really have anything after that, but I don't really care. So right into there, 233.50 or so has been that bottom. So if you did like a long right now in the market, which I think I don't mind, what is that exactly? Yeah, 233.60, we can use 233.50. What's our price? All right. We're not too far away from maybe putting something on right now for JP Morgan. Nice downside push. Maybe there it is. We're going to take it low. Maybe we just push the short with JP Morgan now, finally breaking that low 71. We have a really nice trade happening right here. I'll try it. Real nice trade happening with Intel. We're going to see if we can hold the TQs. Intel's been really, we've babied this one, but we've just been getting out down here. I think it's need to do that even though it's not really moving. So we'll take another out on Intel. The fact that it's down here is nice. But so that's what Intel's doing. Nice downside pressure here for INTC. We'll cover some more, but we're going to go short JP. Oops, let me go back to that. The newest position is JP Morgan. And Again, just half a unit right there. I know it's going to look silly because we're short right there, but I'm going to try to trade it back to the 50-period moving average or a 234 break. That high is really 234. Let's go to 234.10. So we'll average it back in. Who knows where we're going to go? We're in one unit. Like looks like we'll punch the bottom there, of course, but we'll wait to see now where it goes. We were in this name yesterday. We saw how violent it can go, so we'll have to wait to see what it's doing now. JP Morgan trying to get back up to the upside. We may get stopped out right away. Just looking for something to do. We're not going to put on anything too serious, but hey, a loser is a loser. So here comes right back up. JP Morgan. I don't know. We could average into it. Maybe.
Surprised it's.
Yeah, we'll try it. I'm not too surprised it's down. I'm just more surprised at sort of the price action right this
Well,
minute.
BAC's been disappointing. Citigroup has been disappointing. All the banks, the ones that reported this morning, have been disappointing. A lot of people, Palantir is running for sure. Going to get there in a quick second. A few people mentioned Bitcoin. You're at the low of the day, essentially at 84,000. Maybe not exactly the low, but you're getting really, really close to it. So on IBIT. Yeah, it's about to retake low. Yesterday's bottom, about 30 cents or just under, like 30 cents from here. This looks like a short the pop situation. I didn't realize we're really trending this poorly on IBIT, but it is PLTR that does seem to want that $100 level. Going parabolic into 100 is Palantir. I don't know what the level is going to look like on Palantir. When you pull up that daily chart, there is no level. Like 100's a nice round number. Obviously, it's a psychological level, but the top in there, which I was using today, was that we're already past that 98 high. So you're breaking out in earnest on Palantir, and I think it's got some juice going with it at this moment. So 100, like I said, there's nothing on this daily chart which suggests that 100 means anything. It just in 3 o'clock in the afternoon going into the close, I'd be shocked if there wasn't a bunch of size on that level just because it's 100 in the afternoon. But there's nothing that stands out significantly. Like it's not a technical level at all for PLTR.
Okay, yeah, so here we go, man. Here goes the TQs. Finally starting to fall back in. We just take another bid right here again. I mean, let's just go. I mean, this is what we're doing. The money's fallen in. We're trying to keep it in the wheelbarrow. It's coming back in right now. So there it is. It's a good trade for us, obviously, as we continue to be short these names. And then, I mean, Intel, again, back down here. We could wait, but I'm more obsessed right now with JP Morgan. We're now in the money on this trade, but, where we are, we're not going to get out of it. We're looking to see if we can break through 233.50s right there on the downside. But again, just another good cover on the futures as we just continue to do absolutely nothing and waiting for some good opportunities to get back into this game. So we're short JP. I'm going to give it to 234.20. Hopefully it can go up there, not go up there. Hopefully it can come back down in, and that would give us about a 50-cent hit. So if that's what winds up happening, and we're just going to wait to see where it goes. But it just stopped again at 70 is basically the level that we had punched in at. So and there it goes right back up to the upside again. So not really worth. There's our 10 fill. So we now have 15 more cents to go, and then we're stopped out. So now we have a much better price of 90s. So we may even be able to catch a winner on this if it does come back into 70s. Why don't we just put a bid there just in case it flashes again back downside? But here it goes. Looks like it wants to go higher. Still fine. We're actually in about a unit and a half or so of JP Morgan right now. So it will be a hit as it goes back to the upside. But, we're pretty comfortable taking this hit. It's 30 cents at the end of the day. I'm kind of trading all of these names regardless of their price. That's why I'm kind of saying I'm not really changing the units on any one of these. So looks like it's going to break a little bit. There it goes. So, a fail. We'll just fail it. The market's trying to pop back up. It was a good thing that we're able to take, so we'll probably get stopped out of the TQs as well. Look, we're trying to go short, and there it is. So look, 3 outs down there. So just let it break. If it's going to break, it's going to break. We've already made a decent amount on this trade idea. So we will give some back at the end. And this is what happens, if you're trying to make some winners. Unfortunately, sometimes you got to put some losers up on the board. So this last bit of this trade will be a hit, but it honestly was, there it goes, breaks through 05. So we'll slap a fail on holding the last of it, but it's really not. It was a really good trade. We were short there at 95s, out 70s. That last out is a 70 fill, so that's 25 cents. So we wind up losing 10 cents there on what we had left. So far, so good there today. It's just been pretty slow, pretty boring. Wondering if the real trading, I'm not going to even go back to the Qs right now, not until there's some sort of news. We could short it off VWAP, but we were just short. So Webull right now, maybe this is where the action is up to the 200 period. I was wrong on this, I guess. I mean, we had said that a rundown, and the funny thing is that really the problem was that Gasparino story changed everything a little bit because, you know, that halt had to do with the story, not necessarily liquidity drying up. So I thought if we had got underneath 40, there would have been a problem. But then people were like, nah, we already know it's a Chinese company, and then blasted it right back up to $46. So I'm still of the belief that if we break below this, we didn't really break below 40, but if we get below 40, then I do think that there is a problem here for Webull and its shareholders. So I would get ready for that break through 40 if that does happen. That's all this liquidity here. Back down in. I could see us ending the day 32, 33 for Webull. So that's if and when that does wind up happening.
Is it back under now?
No, it's not doing anything right now. 43.50s or so.
Intel's threatening, for me, just Intel's threatening to break the day-long trend. It did it once before, like very briefly, like this, but this trend line got confirmed when it held VWAP, and now it's kind of holding the trend. So it's a closing above. So once it closed above, if I'm not going long, I'm trailing out over 20. If it wants to go there, great. Palantir, oh, it didn't get to 100. It just stalled at 99 even. Might have been size on Palantir at 99. I'm not actually sure if there was any, but it just went to exactly 99. I wanted to short a pop in Bitcoin here, but when the market came up just now and back into that 19,000, like Bitcoin's not really moving up very much or doing much of anything, to be honest with you. The only thing increasing in volume outside of Palantir is, oddly enough, Apple that I'm seeing. Like Apple's coming into that high. And it's hard to tell because there's been so little volume. If I do this, you can see volume at least starting to pick up going into power hour, somewhere where it was at lunchtime, going into that same high. So that's starting to give you a little bit of juice. That PLTR, that small cap we're looking at was absolutely, that OST, like that's sort of gone dead. Tesla's picking up volume going into the volume weighted average price here. Oh, I don't know if I had to sneeze here. All right, I'm good. Going into the volume-weighted average price. I just feel like you got to be patient. If you're going to trade Apple, you have to wait for that top. Because I sat this one out thinking 207. Just have to wait for it to actually get to the top, or Palantir 100, whichever of these things wants to come first. Because IBIT's trending down, but there's no pop to get you into it. I expect with that market bounce, we'd get something to fade in IBIT. But I just watched the futures, go up into 19,000, and IBIT just went 5 cents. So it's really, really not moving in here. And if you don't find it moving, you don't have to trade it. Still nothing on the early look imbalances. I guess we're not expecting too much today, but I would expect you could see something out of the big cap tech when 350 does roll around. So Apple getting really close to that 203.5, is that screaming into the top where it's resisted pretty much the entirety of the day.
All right. Yeah. So I know Neil just talked about Intel, but we got some more out there on Intel as well. So, or not as well, but we got some out at 94. I just, no point in letting this one go back higher. Like I said, we have many bullets. So we'll just keep on getting out. If it comes back into many bullets. If it comes back into 90s, then we'll take another out over there. JP Morgan, one more swing. Why not? We're looking for something to do. Let's go, JP Morgan. 54s. So coming in, we don't really want to get stopped out of this one. That's 223. So I was actually going to try. I'm just in a small short right now. I want to see about this 200 period moving average. I mean, I think just getting a little carried away thinking about making a trade immediately. We don't need to sit here and worry too much about the market if it's not going to do anything. So let's let it settle down. We've really seen, we're now sloping. We're sloping down. Obviously, the 50 period is now trying to tick up a little bit. But I'm going to try to give this hope into about 234.75. It looks like that'll be the break. 234.75, 234.80, something like that to be wrong here on JP Morgan. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to give it a little bit of room as here it goes back there to the upside. We've already got stopped out of the futures, so there's not really much to do. We have a very, very small piece. I mean, Neil just mentioned Apple. I am not reloading Apple up here for sure. We will stop out if it goes above 203.50, which is this level right there. And again, about 5% left of this trade on Apple. If you like the short, you could reload it. I wouldn't hate on anybody for doing that. So let's wait to see what winds up happening now with Apple. I'm short JP Morgan, and we've got Adara on the desk.
Be aware of here with Webull, B-U-L-L. We know that we had those comments coming through from Charles Gasparino, who is a frequent Fox business contributor. He basically said that he was hearing some senators talk about the fact that there could be, they're looking here to have an investigation, I guess, into the situation with Webull, which again is not a Chinese company per se, but they do have connections to China because they're operated by a Chinese company which has funding from private investors like Xiaomi. Now, the reason I bring this back up is because someone commented in the post saying that they expect Paul Atkins, incoming SEC chair, to investigate the operation of the company. And Charles Gasparino, in response to this post, which was about Chinese companies not interfering in the U.S., said bingo in all caps and then tagged B-U-L-L. So A, certainly maybe a little bit of bias when it comes to the reporting of B-U-L-L here, but also worth noting Charles Gasparino, in his previous post on Webull, said he will be appearing on Fox Business at 3:45 p.m., where he'll get a little bit more into this story. So watch out for B-U-L-L as we head deeper and deeper into Power Hour. Back to you.
The hour of power. So look, Apple just did a curl at 203. So we're going to try to get into it. We start to get into it. It's very tempting to get into Palantir off 99, but you got to let it to get to the $100 level. It wasn't the setup I wanted. And I said in the chat, over trading, almost all bad days involve, I'll speak for myself, but I can tell you in 20 years, just watching traders, it's like the day that you know you're more active than you should have been on an individual stock, usually it's a bad thing. And what I mean by that is you don't have, here, I'll show you the difference between active and over trading. Active, Intel is active. Short the top, short VWAP, short the lower high. You can be active in a name, but at every single point, like you're never questioning why you're getting in and out of the stock at any of those levels. But if I look at myself on my worst stock today, Palantir, active, but not sticking to a plan. Like I start with a trend reversal, breakdown, and then I start just working off the high for no apparent reason and get away from like waiting for an all-day trend break. That's over trading, and that's the thing that you, generally speaking, want to avoid. So you wait for it to get to your level. Apple has gotten to it. I mean, it's at that 203 and changed, so we'll see if it'll do a revert. I think it made sense to take a shot at OST. We took our shot at it. There was that trend break. It tried to go higher. Now we stay away till it gets to VWAP. And it's coming right back into VWAP, that OST, by the way. Right into the volume-weighted average price, which is $2.60. Maybe volume picks back up. I think you got like one or two salvos left for a name like this to start going this or Webull, and then it gets a little bit too crazy. We didn't break the high on Apple. Did we? No. I just looked up. No, Apple did not break the high. All right, that's just a bad misplaced stop. The high of the day in Apple is 203.50. 203, yeah, 203.50 is the high. So it did not break the top. I probably put in a 2 instead of a 5 and made a typo in there, but I'll just jump back in. So we'll take that like 20-cent hit, jump back in and give it to 203.50 on AAPL. That's the level we want. If it makes a fresh high, fair enough. It's at a resistance spot when the futures are at a resistance spot and a level that's already worked. So it's got to come and break this 203 to be any good. Because effectively, remember, I was short at the 20 level, underneath the 20 level, and then just got back in at the 20 level after having that bad stop.
Yeah, good look there. Yeah, we're short Apple here for the last hour plus, so we'll hopefully we're with you on that one, and that one can come in right here. This is my last trade on Apple. An hour plus, we shorted this exact level at 12 o'clock. So let's see if it can come back in. Apple, big time trading there for me on AAPL, and good look there as well. All right, so we actually get some nice JP Morgan trades here as here it comes falling back in again. So we like a lot. I like it. We already got a 20 fill there. Let's see if we can get a little bit lower. I'm bidding 05s. Maybe I'll slip a little something in here at 10s or so. See if we do get a little whoosh down here for JP Morgan. We're now in the money. I mean, it's not even that much, 20, 30 cents. Remember, we did take that hit of 30 or 40 cents the first time. Let's go. Maybe we can get that bid. We are at 10s or so. So, of course, it's stopping there. You can see we're on ARCA. So there it goes. Nice move back in. Give me that that 05 rate now. We'll see if we can take that. There it is. See if we can take that 30 cents right back there. As I saw someone in the chat say, trader going to trade. Yeah, man, traders are going to trade, and that's what we're here for right now. So we'll see if we can barbecue up some profits. We've got some ideas all the time. It doesn't mean they're the right ones, but we will trade on that one. So yeah, man, good look there. I'm glad you grabbed some Apple there as it's coming back down. Like I said, we're still going to wait to see where we can go on that one. That is AAPL. Nice move there, up and then down again. Yeah, Intel, we're out. Intel's actually moving even lower right now. So boom, goes the dynamite on INTC. We're going to get some more outs again on this name, right? So as it continues to fall down, this is what we're doing. Making trades, putting up these for you. So there goes Intel cooking now to the downside, INTC, and just taking them out as we go. And someone asked about, you know, where are the outs and how do you know, like, what levels to get out at? I'm just trying to get out at these, at past supports and resistances, right? You know, again, I heard Sharif talk about, you know, a way to trade, you know, smaller cap names are to use big shares and take little moves, right? I'm kind of just trying to trade the share size that I'm comfortable with and take whatever moves it gives you. So like right into here, we $20.12, like that's past support, so we get out there. Then it comes back in. Look at all the outs right here. And again, it was about 5 or 10 minutes ago. I hope you're still here. I've missed who the name of that individual that asked me about that, but basically just at all of these spots, you know, is where I decide to get out of those, right? And so that's what we're doing right there. So far, so good on those trades. So far, so good on the short. Of course, we get stopped out of the TQs, like right there again. But like I said, man, traders going to trade, and we're going to get stopped out when we get stopped out, and that's what happened right there. Unfortunately, look at this drop right back in. So yeah, man, that part sucks, but it's all good. We've got JP Morgan. We're still making these trades, giving you guys ideas like obviously this Apple trade. I'm going to cover some of this Apple right here again now that we can get some more out here at 75s. So we'll take some more covers here on Apple. And again, just this has been a past level right there. So if you have enough bullets to do it, you might as well get something out. That's it right there. We'll get some out at the 200. We'll get some out at the 50. But so far, so good here on Apple. As here comes the market, man. Let's go. We've got the diamond hands now as this market starts to fall back in just a little bit. There goes JP Morgan. Get in those 80s, my guy. It's too bad we don't have the futures, but we're here right now. You see energy picking up around here when the market starts to go. So, yeah, man, we're here right now. Nice move down for JP, taking that profit back. Give it back right now. We'll see if JP Morgan can get even lower. Beautiful move on Intel, beautiful move on Apple. And right now, Adara's got something for y'all.
Here is the market, and it is worth noting we have comments coming here right now from Carlos Cuerpo. He is the finance minister of Spain. So he said basically he did have a talk about trade with the U.S. Treasury Secretary. That would be Scott Bessent. He said, he basically just kind of continued to clarify that he wants China and they need China to be a continued strategic partner for the EU. He said that he'd not talk about specific products with regards to trade when he was speaking to Treasury Secretary Bessent, but that's not surprising because yesterday Bessent said they were not going to be getting into specifics too much. Basically, the main thing Cuerpo said was, quote, Bessent sent a message that he wants to make a deal with the EU on tariffs. So they're looking for a tariff deal, but the EU continuing to, I guess, relay here through Spanish Finance Minister Cuerpo that China needs to be a strategic partner in any deal. And speaking of Bessent, here's an infographic I just posted here on X at TTV Research. I was talking about this with Neil yesterday in the Market Recap Show. We had a lot of breaking news headlines from a lot of different people, some of whom were in the Trump administration. So here's a little breakdown with the 1-minute chart on the NASDAQ of some of these happenings here. A lot of these headlines had to do with trade investigations into the NASDAQ. Not into the NASDAQ, into the semiconductors and pharma space. We had some talks about recession and some talks about China tariffs. So if you want to know everything that was said during a very busy after market period, go to X at TTV Research as we head into the last half of Power Hour. Back to you.
The back half of Power Hour in play for sure. We're showing the Leafs in there. They're fantastic and they're doing really well, but I think a lot of people are looking at Golden State tonight. The Warriors, I think, are going to do good. Right? There's a...
honest with you.
Well, to me, look, I've said it before. The only time I care about the NBA is during the playoffs because I'm kind of done with the NBA. I love watching the playoffs because I'm a big basketball fan. I'm more about the college game. I love the NCAA. I love what they're doing in college sports. Just very quickly on Apple, I was waiting for it to show tape of a bid. It just did, just now off the $half level. So I've just punched out of Apple. We'll go scalp trading because it's about 330. 330 doesn't mean anything in a general sense, but I am looking to see if any imbalances start to pick up. And if we do get back to the high on Apple, we'll take one more swing so long as it's not at like 348 or 349. If it doesn't happen within a few minutes of 350, then I don't want to be shorting right in front of the prior high of the day, which is 203.5. Charlie Taft saying Wolves in 5. I have thoughts about, I don't like what Anthony Edwards is doing with his game, man. The guy shoots like 10 threes a game. It's like
What a surprise.
But he's the best. He's like driving, like attack the rim monster in the NBA.
Threes,
No,
like,
I know, I get it. Don't get me wrong. He's having a good year, but I just feel like in the playoffs, if he can push toward his strengths a little bit more, that would probably help the team because he's scoring a lot and 300 3-pointers this year, but did the Wolves do any better? Ultimately, you're trying to win ball games, and in the playoffs, you want to play a game that's going to win in the playoffs. Please, Sharon. I do think Golden State is going to handle Memphis, though.
Yeah. I was just trying to find out. Anthony Edwards, 4 children, 4 different women. So the guy's very, very busy there. I thought I read something about him as well. So shout out to my guy, Anthony Edwards. There's one thing definitely he's good at, right? We just figured that out right now. This is when his kids were born. One kid born in March of 24 to another girl. Another kid born in October of 2024 to somebody else. Another one born in October of 23 to somebody else. And then another one born in September of 20. Imagine that. Imagine having a kid born in September to one woman and then October to another woman. Shout out to my guy, Anthony Edwards, I guess. All right, so there we go. Nice move down on Intel right now. Coming back into the 1987. Not a bad year for Intel, but we're going to wait on that one. We're also going to wait here for JP Morgan. Look, we were pretty lucky to get covers down there. 233.80 right there for that. So, look, man, I hope we continue to bleed lower. I really do. But we do have those imbalances coming out in a bit. So we want to make sure that we do cover that trade. Someone in the chat was like, yo, give me some chicken tendies for that Qs trade. Yeah, congratulations. We got stopped out. Looks like in hindsight, 2020, that we should have held on to those TQQs down there as well, man, at 49.70. That is for sure. But yeah, nice play there. It actually got down into 49.63s. Again, so there it is, man. And then, like I said, I'm glad Neil took it, but we have to, start to trust our trades a little bit more because I took it right there and did not take it there and did not take it there again. So a guy to maybe not be as influenced here by the time and the market. We should have probably shorted VWAP there as well. But instead we went over to JP Morgan and it will still be red on the day for JP Morgan. We're obviously not out of it. We still have half of the position, but look at that. Huge move up right now for JP Morgan there out of nowhere, I guess. Futures trying to blast up, as are the banks. So we could try another short up here because we did get a little bit out. We know where we're going to get stopped out on this again, and that is that break through 75, I thought it was. Yeah, so that's that level, but we've come in nicely now, the 200 period. So I'm going to change it. It was actually at 85. Now let's get stopped out at 75. So 234.76 or so stop out here on JP Morgan. So we'll do that. And not just really. I wish there was a little bit more happening. Our Boeing trade. Man, we're so close to being so good. Look at that right there, that stop out. Like, if you zoom in here, you want to talk about stops on shares. That's a good position for me, and we got stopped out right there. So, that kind of sucks. Whoosh to the downside. It's different if you're trading small shares under 10, something like that. But if you have a couple hundred shares and something like that breaks, that could be the difference for the day. So I just get a little bit like, meh. I hate when that happens, especially when I look over and then we get stopped out and then we get stopped out at 159 and then literally 1, 2, 3 minutes later, you're at 158.30. So let's just say you only have 100 shares there. It's still $70 that you threw away. Anyways, that's what trading is all about. But there's a stop on Boeing. Again, trade, I heard Neil say this already. Trade the names, and I think some of you asked him about a question there. Trade the names that are in play, right? I mean, you don't want to just sit around, and we had that OST.
It was in play. It's dead now.
Yeah, so that's what I'm saying. Like, you got to be very, very careful with whatever names you're looking at because they can dry up real quick. Like that Newsmax. Wasn't it moving around this morning? Oh, back down to 20.
It was, but I think one of those, it might have been a sympathy play on Newsmax. Like, it started going because there was activity in Webull. So like maybe just kind of tried to go gapping up. Like yesterday, it was just following the trend with Webull up. It tried to go at the open, and predictably, it's interesting that this happens because I went over to Webull, and sometimes it's a lower hanging fruit. I said this before, and it's actually one of my rules about parabolic movers. I used to say this with GameStop, AMC, GameStop, Cost, GameStop, BlackBerry, and whatever the other cohorts. If you have a sympathy play, it's easier to short the sympathy play for the breakdown instead of the runner. So when you look at what's going on or what happened overall, and it doesn't really matter at the end of the day whether it was up, down, round, and around on Webull. It did work out that my timing for the short entry wasn't good, but look how not clean that was. Eventually, after the fact, like the price I got in looked like gold if you were shorting it there later in the day. But that same idea at the same time, if you go over to the sympathy play on Newsmax, why is it up? Well, probably up yesterday because bull ran. There's nothing fundamentally great about it. Well, that same lower high was a clean entry. And then it was clean on another lower high, and it just trended down. So I like those sympathy plays. If you can do it, you have to find something which is shadowing another stock for at least a day or two, and you have a pretty good idea that that's what's at least happening on that individual name. But as I said, that OST, if it was going, we'd try it again. But the bounce off VWAP was on even less volume than the bounce that we tried before at 320. So the 320 got you to 360 and then lost it. And now we're doing less volume with 15 minutes till we get the imbalances. And JC, I'm not going to look up these NIL comments from Zach Eddy, but if you just like DM me, I'll read it. I'd be interested to read it, but not necessarily right now. I'm always interested. I love college sports, and Zach Eddy's a Canadian.
Yeah, well, let us know what they are. I want to know actually what they are.
No, I don't know. I don't know what they are, but if you could either put it in the chat or just message us. I'm not aware of anything he said about the NIL. But Zach Eddy, he's a center for Memphis, Canadian. He had a good rookie year. I think it was like 9 and 8 or something like that.
Yeah, I wanted to see what he had to say too, because we had that comment the other day that was saying that Canadians do not participate in that, right?
Well, I gotta imagine that he must. If there's so much money that he.
Yeah, Purdue. So he went to Purdue there.
They went to. Remember, they were deep run in the tournament.
Yeah. No, I know exactly who he is. Yeah, of course. All right, so we'll find out more about that. All right, so yeah, it's immigration. I don't think maybe he didn't get it. So we'll have to wait on that. Yeah, I think you're right. Maybe Canadians do not get NIL.
That's wild.
Now. That will change.
Yeah, that can't last forever.
They have to change the whole system, to be honest with you. So they'll do that. All right, so here comes JP Morgan coming right back in again. So here we go, man. We'll see if we can have these bangers on board right now. You know, someone asked about, so when I'm saying unit, I don't refer to it as a money thing. I'm just referring it to as a share size thing. And unfortunately, you know, we don't disclose the share sizes, but you guys, you know, you can ask people in the chat. I don't know. We don't really talk about that, but I'll always give you a shot at telling you when I have a bigger position. I try to say that my maximum would be 10 units. And so if I'm ever in like a 1 or 2 unit position, it's not really too huge. Right now we're in 1 for JP Morgan. We talked about how we're trying to average it in. Okay, there it comes back in for this. So I don't really, you know, my maximum positions and everything like that will more be off the open or like trades like this on Apple that happen almost right away during the day. This type of trade where we're coming back in, even here as well at 11:55 when we get this. In the afternoon, I still have yet to really solve some of those problems. Like I've sat here before and tried to fight trend and then gotten run over. And it's like, I feel mentally that at the end of the day, I don't really want to give back or Sure, yeah, I can do it anytime, Ramin. Hey, Ramin, for you, just about anything. But we have to watch out with our net losses and stuff like that heading into the day. But Ramin, run it. Let's go. Yeah, you got to watch out for e-signal. And this is part of what I'm talking about when we sit here after hours. And I'm always telling you, Obi stays here super late and does the charting on his platform. You know, you want to look at a name like e-signal where you do have that charting platform that is consistent, is trustworthy. You can scan that QR code right now. I don't know if that thing stopped running or whatever, but they have the QR code right there. Scan it, get involved with eSignal. First month is free. And I really think it is worth what you paid for eSignal as far as the entitlements. Check it out. I believe you'll enjoy it. We just went down into 80s there. My bid is right now at 79. Not sure why that is there for JP Morgan, but we'll see if it breaks lower on JP Morgan, we'll have it. So right now, it's 50 cents in the money. It's what we're doing, man. So here we go again. That's hopefully going to be a nice downside push here into the close for JP Morgan. Look, man, I mean, Intel is still going lower. So, yeah, we're just going to keep on getting out as we continue to go lower and lower and lower on this name, right? So, again, we'll get something out. There's a size here at 83. We might as well just keep on getting it out, man. INTC. So big move down. Glad we have it. We'll take some more fills on that one as it gets lower. Hopefully it does. Do we know he missed that? So we have to wait for that 83. Maybe I'll just punch some out now at 85 because we did see that size there, but I'm not too worried about that. All right, Netflix. There we go. Shout out to you, Joe. You're my favorite as well. Thank you, Joe, for everything there in the chat. There it is. Yeah, man, it's an 83. Money. So there it goes. So far today, man, Apple, beautiful short, 60 cents in the money. Right now, Intel, 40 cents in the money. Those are going to be good. JP Morgan trying to get back to positive on this one. If we get that 80 fill, we'd be a heck of a lot closer to getting positive on that name for JP Morgan. So I always think about JT Marlin, and I feel like I'm always about to say it. And then PLTR, I know that you guys are talking about it. I'm not in it, but I know that's a good name. Join me and Brian Shannon in Adara after hours as we'll talk everything about everything. I'm going to get him to tell me what he wants to buy because last week he said absolutely nothing. So we'll wait to see what he says.
A lot has changed in a week.
Tonight, yeah, exactly. So we'll see.
A lot has changed in a week.
We'll see what he winds up saying there.
I'd say there's at least enough that people, if you didn't at least have a shopping list, like you got to at least be thinking about it because there's some positive signs with some deals being made. At least a discussion of deals potentially getting made and some leeway from the administration. I'm holding for a trend break or the close on Friday, like Intel's prior close. Like to me, it's already tested the low enough times. It broke the $20 level. I think we either get there or maybe we get some imbalances that'll take us. Just a note, Intel sometimes will have an imbalance that pairs off. Usually it's enough to maybe move it, but it'll pair off at 355, 99 times out of 100. Rivian Millionaire saying that RKLB is going, like Rocket Lab. I mean, it's trying. This was probably, I didn't trade this one today. Obviously, you can see no executions, but this had to have been maybe the best mean reversion trade. I wish I had seen this in the morning, just in terms of a very clean upward trend that is ridiculously distinct, and then it broke it absolutely cleanly. Like how often do you see on the topping tail candle, there's your high, and the best yet, then wick that same high to trend down the rest of the day. It's a little bit late for a late day run through VWAP with only 7 minutes to go, but I love the fact that it's actually holding up decently. And where did it hold? Prior day highs. So Rocket Lab, it's not that bad on the daily chart. It's actually trying to recover the 50-period moving average and bounced off the 200, which sets up really well. But you need to close above the 50-period here. You have a big topping tail candle essentially rejecting that level. If you can hold it tomorrow, then you can get a second salvo. I don't like trying to punch a breakout long at 343. But yeah, great look over there on Rocket Lab. I was actually looking at Mara climbing up while Bitcoin's doing nothing, which is just weird to me. Like, why is Mara going up off the low of the day and Bitcoin is completely sideways off the low? My first thought is, why wouldn't I just be taking the shot to short the first time Mara looks like it's turning? Just try to take the quick little short into whatever level is in front of. Right now it's 42. Maybe you get it into 50 in the next minute or so. And as long as Bitcoin's hanging at the lows, there's no reason why Mara should be getting a bounce other than calling it a dead cat bounce. I suppose. So I just want to look for some little bit of action in the tape where some sellers come in, try to punch it, give it to the local high. My trail's already on in Intel. Got to keep an eye on IBIT. Obviously, if Bitcoin starts going up to follow this move, then I wouldn't want to touch that with a 10-foot pole. But yeah, it's starting to look like it wants to curl in here. Mara is also good that it never has, I shouldn't say that. Mara, I've never seen Mara have an imbalance, so you're not worried about some massive imbalance coming through with Mara. Just like the fact that Bitcoin's not going, so why is it sliding upside?
All right, JP Morgan still going lower. Only a couple minutes. We could take a quick look at the imbalances to see what's going on. I am bidding 66s right now. We're 60 cents in the money now on this trade. So yeah, back to positive land, but we got to get out. Nothing's positive until you get out. All right, UAA, SWI, Uber, oh, Uber, $74, a name that we haven't looked at in a minute, UBER. Right there. What I have, I have too many of these things open from Adara. What's up, Adara? UAL, IBKR, and JB Hunt later on tonight. So United Airlines going out with Adara and I on the recap show. They're looking at 80 cents. Last move was only 2%. Its implied move is looking at 8%. Wow, we get that JP Morgan trade. Okay, here we go. And again, this is the benefit when you trade with a little more shares. You can start to, like this. I can get some pieces out now and then hold and still try to hold. Look, holding all doesn't work all the time. I mean, we talked about this example with the TQs. We're trying to hold for this move, but we got stopped out when it happens. And there it goes right now, the TQ. So congratulations, anybody that spun that idea as well. You guys know that we're still in Apple, baby. So again, we did not reload it, but we're still in it. It is now $1 in the money on Apple. So let's get some more out there as we just start to punch some out of Apple. So there it is, right back into the 200 period moving average. So that is another one. We'll do some hot dog cannons right there, and then a little slappa as we go there for AAPL coming back in right there. We'll see if we can get some VWAP trades, but yeah, buddy. And then more outs of Intel. I'm just getting out on the way down in, man. Getting out as it keeps on coming back in. So we'll see if Intel can print it. But now we are $1 in the money here on JP Morgan as it now starts to crank a little bit lower as well. So far today, TQ's trade, Apple trade, Intel trade, JP Morgan trade right now. Good afternoon so far for trading right now as we continue to go. So yeah, man, still really happy. There we go. We got a 38 right there. So let's just keep our 40s maybe. Let's just keep on going to the downside as there goes JP Morgan and we wait for those imbalances. Now $1 in on JP, $1 in on Apple, and 40 cents in on Intel. So there we go. I like you too, Tony. Thank you so much for watching. Let's go. Now we're even lower than that. All right, Adara, kill him with kindness.
Just be aware, Donald Trump is supposed to take the podium at any time now at this event where he will be presenting the Commander-in-Chief trophy. No one is at the podium as of yet. They're just playing a live band playing Bruno Mars music as of right now. But if there's any change to that, I will let you know what is happening here. Again, Donald Trump expected to speak. Usually these presentations of events or honoring of specific teams usually does not involve any kind of Q&A portion. But again, Commander-in-Chief trophy, anything can happen. I will let you guys know if and when I hear anything from this event. And back to you.
Thank you very much, Adair. Appreciate you there. Apple just lost that VWAP.
Yeah.
I do actually have a bid. I said I was trailing on Intel. I do have a bid in the 70s, but that has to get to that prior bar low.
Yeah.
But just a second ago, I didn't see it pop up there, but I'm not even sure what happened on IBIT because it seemed like nothing. We lost 84,000 and Mara just went up. So we went like 3 cents worth of a stop on Mara, but that was a volume spike to the upside on Mara when I saw IBIT still languishing at the low of the day and actually breaking the low. So that relationship is kind of broken right now. You broke the low of the day, which was the play I'm looking for. I'm like, yeah, well, why don't we go to the downside here, play off a resistance when IBIT is breaking lower? So Bitcoin is continuing to go lower. At this point, we got 90 seconds till the imbalances come out. Darwin's betting we get a large MOC. It's kind of a random day. It's just a Tuesday. There's no index rebalancing on anything other than some deals that are closing. So I wouldn't necessarily expect a big imbalance. There isn't much of a reason to, but you never know. That's why you show it live, and that's why we see whatever happens. I love to react to plays. Ideally, my favorite play is going to be a buy imbalance that I can short something at the high when it reverts. And I feel as if the name I'd look for is Apple because it's got the activity. It already just showed you a dump. I don't know if Apple's going to have an imbalance, but that's the name I'm going to pick. If it has a buy imbalance that goes into the high, I think you play the flip game at 355. Love that setup, especially when you're already trending into the downside. I'm kind of feeling like UiPath. I don't care where it comes out, but I like to know what the expected was. I like to leave it up because it's information for me if I want to trade off of one of these names. But Apple, I suspect when the NASDAQ rolls in about 30 seconds or so, it'll be that or NVIDIA that's going to go nuts. Maybe even Palantir because Palantir's had such a big day, though I can't remember the last time we actually saw Palantir show any kind of an imbalance for us. I'm on the bid. Hopefully we get swept up in that Intel. It's just a sell imbalance, get that little spike, and then be able to get out.
Yeah, so we still got a boat on Intel right here. So we're going to wait to see where that goes for us on INTC as we'll wait for that imbalance coming through here. So yeah, I'm with you on that. Let's hopefully we get one right now on Intel to the downside. So if we do, great. No, we do not. It goes upside right there for Intel, but it's kind of flat. It's not really moving around too much. UiPath, there's NVIDIA with a bid, so we can see if that goes anywhere. There's Apple with a bid as well. Amazon with a bid. Everything is a buy. So lots of buys there. We are hoping for the sell side, but you know what? It doesn't really matter as JP Morgan does get a nice little bid side as well. I'm not sure. Oh, there it is. Yeah, buy. Wow, 600,000. Okay, we'll have to wait and see if that one wants to just calm itself down. Just look. Chill, JP Morgan, chill right now to the downside. So we'll see where that wants to go, but we're going to have to start to clean up some of this. Apple, again, we did cover down there. I mean, nice dollar trade as we go. So we'll just continue to cover more. I'll get something out at 43 if we can. We just put a bid there. Ooh, there, give me that. No, did we get it? No, we did not. Okay, so we were waiting for 43s. We do not get that bid down there at 43. And then JP Morgan, there we go, we just got it. JP Morgan also, we can bid somewhere near the bottom 34s. I was actually waiting for a lot lower, 233.35s is where we should be at. We were waiting at 233 flat. So 233.15 actually with another bid for us on JP Morgan. I'm going to take the time now to punch out a little bit. There we go. We got some 63s there. It looks like to the downside. So yeah, man, there it goes. Good day. Let's see if JP can come back into 233 and we'll get that fill. Everything else seems to be pretty kosher over here as we go. Intel's been a really great trade. Like I said, we've still got on a decent amount of shares, but I think we might as well start to punch out. I mean, we have a decent amount of shares now and I already have 50 fills. So that just goes to show you what we're doing. If this goes above 1990s, then yeah, maybe we'll just punch out. But I might as well sit on the bid here and take some more out. I mean, we don't even, there we go. We get some 87s. No point in losing on this. We might as well start to cover as those imbalances have now hit. So far, so good right there for the day.
Yeah, Intel, I actually just punched it. The second I saw 2 million to the buy side, well, it was all buys of any size in the market, 2.1 billion, just punched out because Intel wasn't moving. So the trail's now gone. There was pretty much nothing doing. I mean, Apple didn't come out with anything, unfortunately. UiPath did come out larger, but the paired volume is what I don't like about that. You're going to see 3 million. That's 3 million's bigger than 2.5. But UiPath goes to the upside on that sell imbalance. I'm not really a huge fan of that. I would have liked to see it respect that big sell on UiPath. I think there's probably something setting up and brewing in this stock. It can't be a coincidence that 2.5, 3 million every single day for a week has been into the close. It just hasn't been moving the stock. So someone's been able to successfully sell this thing wherever they want to, and it just seems like it doesn't really matter. Palantir also did not have an imbalance. That's going to end up double tapping 99, so no test of 100 yet. I suppose we're going to have to wait for tomorrow to get that 100 test on PLTR. It seems inevitable. I mean, now that I say it, it's probably not going to go there, everybody, but you can only pick and choose the levels you want to look at and interact with. You can't make them happen. It probably should have taken that Alibaba, but it wasn't going when I was looking at it. The volume was low at the Chinese ADR, but it did fail the 113. So I still remain bearish on BABA underneath the 113 level. Feel like this one could fall apart. A gap up fail and then a lower high. doesn't feel very healthy for Alibaba. You got to get them early, so I'm hoping we can trade off this level in the morning because the late moves are just not as good on these. You could have scalped it for a few pennies here, but at the open, that's when you get those $2, $3 moves on Alibaba. And I'd like to trade that short side tomorrow if it wants to set it up at that 113 level. Your small cappers didn't really do much of anything for you in there either. That OTS, pretty much, or OST, I should say, pretty much dead. Would have liked to see it do more, but since we got out of it, it's been trending down, and I wasn't shorting it because I didn't pay for locates and wasn't going to do so this late in the day. So yeah, OST was okay, just no late follow through on any of these small cappers. Let's go to the desk with Adara.
This part of the show is brought to you by our friends at Trade the Pool. First, it was commission-free trading. Robinhood made that happen, but the next shift is even bigger. Limited risk trading. Because Trade the Pool is rewriting the stock trading rules. Your only risk is a flat one-time fee as low as $47. How is that possible? Because you're trading on the company's capital. No deposits are needed. No personal capital at stake. This is about breaking barriers, not your savings account, just real opportunity without the fear. So scan that QR code to get 10% off and join tradethepool.com. Back to you.
Yeah, don't break your savings account. What's up, Stevenson?
Ideally not.
Over there. Okay, so what's up, Brittany? We're doing it again right now as we continue to go downside there for JP Morgan. It is now your Dollar Club winner. We did take out Apple. We still got on a piece of Intel now as well. Here we go. We got that JP Morgan. What am I even talking about? 233. Whoa. Okay, I didn't even realize we got that fill. Now we're $1.40 in the money. Now we're breaking even lower. So I think this was a good idea. So we'll props it up right now for everybody trading JP Morgan with me. Nice move to the downside here as it's finally starting to extend out. Look, man, this is what happens. We get stopped out, but we found another level. We got right back in. We probably should have used the 200 period to begin with, but this is what trading's all about, man. And, I think it was Joe or someone like that. What's the point of sitting here and not aggressively trading, right? I mean, if you don't see a setup, that's one thing. We like JP Morgan. We did get stopped out of it, so we're right back into it. Sometimes these reloaded trades don't always work out. So it's not like, I don't know. We like the short and it's working. We did get stopped out. I lost 30 cents there. I don't know what else to tell you guys, but that was that trade. There's Apple. Again, Apple was a great trade. We should have just reloaded it again. I know Neil had it there, which was good. And then, these were the levels that we had shorted. And Apple right there is going to be P&L number one. And nice move there for Apple. And then right behind Apple is going to be Intel. We're still in this. Like I said, we had a bunch of bullets to fire here. So we were just doing it over and over and over again. So now we'll get some more out downside now on Intel as we have to close up our positions into the end of the day. So I'll just probably punch some 84s right. Okay. Well, we got some 83s anyways, or 83.50 there as we just have a little bit left. Well, a little bit is in my reference, but it's not that many shares left. A little breadcrumb is actually what I liked, what my guy over there said. Obi was talking about breadcrumbs with positions there. So yeah, just a little bit of a breadcrumb left on Intel, and then JP Morgan is the only trade. And then, not the missed opportunity. I'm really glad that we talked about Boeing, but we took the high of the day right there on Boeing, and that was 159.07. And yeah, it's at 155 and change. We wouldn't have held it all the way to here. We would have outs all the way along, but I'm sure I would have at least held something. Netflix is there as well. Yeah, I really like that trade. Netflix, we'll see what winds up happening. There's the break lower actually right now on NFLX. So when you don't have Josh Brown pumping it, there it goes to the downside. So we'll wait to see. But Netflix has been really hot fire, man, all morning. Huge trade. I'm just joking about the Josh Brown thing, but he did come on midday and say that he was buying that name, so or long it. And it's really great when you can look even smarter than you even are when you can announce something and the stock goes up. There was another one with HPE this morning where it was announced that blah, blah, blah took a position in it, and boom, he had a $1.5 billion stake, and instantly right there. Imagine being long in this name, $1.5 billion worth, probably a lot lower, and you instantly get $1.30 on it, right? So again, don't know where these guys sell out of it, but there's the move there in HP Enterprises. Thank you, Thomas, for all the nice talk. And thank you so much for Dream Ride Music as well in the chat. Yeah, man, we are always going to try to hold a little bit of something just to see where it goes. And remember, what everybody trades is their own stuff, right? I mean, you got to trade what's comfortable with you and what your stop loss and your trading strategy has printed for you. Every day is completely different. So let's go back over to Adair with only a minute left.
Everyone, I just want to clarify, HPE did not announce that. It was a report that an activist investor took a state. I just want to talk on that quickly. Also, Donald Trump here, we're still yet to see him take the podium. We're just hearing some jazz covers of modern music here at this Commander-in-Chief presentation event, which Donald Trump is supposed to be at. So just watching that as we head into the last minute of the market. I'm also seeing Wall Street Journal now report this story about Chinese officials telling domestic airlines not to place new orders for Boeing jets, initially reported by Bloomberg. So more sources picking up on that Boeing story, guys. 45 seconds left to the bell.
Boeing, look, I hate Boeing today, but ultimately, just remember, it's one thing to have an idea, it's another thing to execute it. So it was a great idea to be looking short on Boeing. It just wasn't the right execution. Intel was an example of being patient and then sticking with it. With Boeing, there was no stick-to-itiveness. And with only 20 seconds to go, I'll quickly show you. My favorite trade is a mean reversion. It had the cleanest mean reversion that I did not take. But with only 10 seconds to go, I just realized we got the closing bell brought to you by Worksport. That is WKSP on the NASDAQ there. So let's ring it on this Tuesday. Got a wild one in the market right about now as there it is. Casino is closed. Obviously, we've got ourselves an unbelievable reversal day. I mean, not everything was doom and gloom, everybody. But it was a pretty big reversal from the open on a wealth of names, some more so than others. Like we talked about Boeing in there. Overall, when you look at the NASDAQ, we're green, believe it or not. Like the NASDAQ is up today, but that's like a technicality because you're making lower highs the entire way through in the overall market. Apple did not have a very good day either. NY Ibernista, thank you as well. Daniel B. I just love WKSP in Cincinnati. So every time I see the Worksport thing, it's just, I know, it was just a funny show. So I like to make the reference. Apple ends up red on the day, but holding on to the volume-weighted average price. And I know we didn't go back over to show you what happened with our best friend in the entire world, Webull, but it just held 40 right at the close. So it's almost to the penny in here. It did pull back into that $40 level already, and it looks like it's holding for now, but Webull loses 40. I think it's in a world of trouble. You already had one down day in today. I want to give a big shout out and thank you to Fabian and Ramin on the ones and twos doing their job every single time, making us look and sound good, which is the absolute best. Appreciate you, Fabian and Ramin. Midday guys killed it. That Playmaker trade, which is all you, everybody. I mean, you guys are picking that Playmaker trade every single day, like long or short. As UAL earnings are already out, so let's just move on over to that. Didn't even realize we'd hit on UAL. Looks like it's going to be good for them. I'm not a fan of the airlines. I've said it before. They're a trade, not an investment, because they always seem to need bailouts. But that just hit 71 and then right back to 68 almost immediately. So you saw a 5% move up. 5% move up, actually 6% move up, and then a retracement back into prior highs on United Airlines. They are one of the big reports that you're going to see this week of Netflix later on in the week, but they are the big one after. I haven't seen the numbers just yet, although, yeah, they did beat on EPS. They did miss very slightly on sales, so it's kind of a mixed bag. They beat by 20% on EPS and a slight sales miss here for UAL. So maybe that's why you're getting a little bit of a pullback on that initial move to the upside. You're going to want to see guidance. That's going to be important because guidance is everything. Forward-looking is what the markets are. And forward-looking is what we are as well. And right now, you should be looking forward to the market recap show with Sean, Adara, special guest Brian Shannon, earnings to go over. Oh, don't lose the bid now. We want it to go up, UAL. Almost just lost view up there. But we got earnings to cover, the day to recover, all of the news that we get throughout the day to go over as well with the ProfitX recap show starting now.
Here goes UAL. Thanks, Neil. UAL, the nice little upside move up to 69 and change right there as we had to get out of our JP Morgan there. Nice $1.30 winner at the end of the day. Traders going to trade. Traders trading UAL right now, Adara. What do they got to know?
Yeah, so we did have a beat here for adjusted earnings per share, 91 cents versus 76 cents expected. Sales, a little bit of a miss. 13.213 billion versus 13.257 billion. Though the company in their official release did call this Q1 their best Q1 in years. So unclear in how many years, but they're saying they did a good job this quarter. Also, IBKR is out. Those earnings, much like UAL, they've got one beat and one miss. IBKR dropping to the downside a little bit here. $1.88 per share here for earnings per share, below estimates of $1.92. Sales, a little bit of a beat, $1.43 billion versus $1.39 billion expected. So IBKR, EPS miss, sales beat. UAL, EPS beat, sales miss. So little opposites day there. Netflix dropped there into the close. We were waiting to see if that would push below that 976 level. It sort of did. I think we had the low there around 975, but NFLX absolutely going to be in watch tomorrow. We've had that chip chop around 940 for days, and now we break it out in a major way. But Neil was talking about this one earlier. It'd be interesting to see it at 1,000. It never got to 1,000, so that's the level we may be able to watch out for tomorrow, though, of course, it's traded above that level in the past. Sean, how are you today?
I'm doing fantastic. Thank you so much for asking. How about yourself?
It was good. Yeah, it was a chill day. It's a day, and now it's done. And I'm listening to, honestly, some fantastic jazz piano as I wait for Donald Trump to take the podium at this Commander-in-Chief event.
All right.
Like, as someone who plays piano, I want to find out who this band is. I'm loving it. I'm having a great time. They're playing like Bruno Mars. They're playing If I Ain't Got You, Alicia Keys.
Right.
Sorry, I'm enjoying myself. If there's any market things from that, I'll obviously let you guys know. That's why I'm listening, but he's not there yet.
All right, so we do have IBKR, JB Hunt. We'll look for them too when that's coming out. Oh, JBHT is now out, so we're going to wait to see. It's not generally a huge mover, but it is moving quite nicely. 135 up to 138 right now. A nice upside move right now for JB Hunt. Yeah, they're looking for 115 right now. I hear them reporting 117, so it looks like a little bit of a beat, but what else you got on there?
So I think the bigger thing here is not the numbers, it's how much they're down year over year, because they all are.
Right.
So Q1 2025 revenue, down 1% here on a year over year basis. They're reported at $2.92 billion. Now, what I was seeing here for estimates was $2.94 billion, so that would be a little bit of a miss. But again, I always like to be cautious. Sometimes the estimates we have are not always the estimates the street's going to run with. Either way, down 1%. It says so in their report. Their Q1 operating income down 8% year over year, and those EPS, as Sean mentioned, looked like a bit of a beat, but it is down a cool 4% year over year. And here are the numbers here for JBHT. According to the estimates Benzinga's using, they missed across the board. So 119, I guess, is what the street was looking for in general. And then sales, 2.92 billion. Actually, this was a beat here versus 2.9 billion expected. There's a typo here on Benzinga. So it looks like a bit of a sales beat, EPS miss. Again, though, all of their metrics down year over year, Sean.
Yeah, not great there for JB Hunt. Again, you know, travel, the transport, there for JB Hunt. We did have the travel name today with UAL, and I mean, on the daily, nicely beat up underneath the 200 period, but it looks like a good beat there for United Airlines as they're continuously going higher here in the after hours. We did have an implied move of 8% right there. So I'm not sure what it was on the day, if it was up or down, but there goes UAL. Nice trade to the high side. Where did we go out on the Qs today? The market went sharply green immediately off the open, only to end pretty flat there at the end of the day, only now up 0.17. So if we were to zoom back out of the Qs and go over to a 5-minute chart, there's that move that started off real nice, man. We had a real good reversal in a name like Tesla that, you know, was down for the day into the open, right down into there. And then boom, huge move up to 260 before finishing strong on the day as well. We'll look to see if Tesla can get going into tomorrow. Nice move at the end of the day back to the upside in Tesla. We did have some pressure on the day on Meta as Meta was making new lows a day throughout the day and kind of closes out near the lows as well at the 520. Obviously that low is going to be 518. But as we look for the FTC trial continues here with Meta, I don't know if we've ever looked up like how long these trials may exactly go for in the past, but you mentioned that Zuckerberg was already speaking, so we'll wait to see see where that all goes through there as well. But all right, that's what that is to the downside right now, Meta. So Meta kind of dragging many of these big names through. We had Apple yesterday where we were looking at 200 for the long. Didn't come in yesterday, but oh boy, did it come in today. And it came in real early. Apple was my number one stock today. We'll look to trade it tomorrow. We had written down on the sticky note short 203, 204. We had 204, but our trade was 203. Great short there. And how good was it, man? It lasted all day, these shorts right there, to the downside. So we had bank earnings today as well. Let's just review some of those. Bank of America, the biggest winner today, up 3.67%. But what about Citigroup? You may say Citigroup was cruising until we had that JP Morgan trade at the end of the day, and then it just tanked, JP Morgan, as did Citigroup. So it looks like BAC holds out on that one. Do you have something to go with?
No, I was just getting...
Okay, yeah, perfect. Yeah, good. If you ever want to say, please interrupt me.
If there's anything, I'll let you know.
At all points, interrupt me. It's fine. That makes sense to me. BAC, JP Morgan, here's that move down. And oh boy, did we have this move, by the way, at the end of the day. JP Morgan, really happy. We actually covered it in the after hours at 2:33. So that's a great trade for us. Down to JP Morgan, definitely fell out. We had to wait for it to get short there again. Nice trade there on JP Morgan to close out the day, but down 0.71. So we're going to actually talk to Brian Shannon about JP Morgan as he talked about it, bouncing off an anchored VWAP. So I'm going to ask him to clarify exactly where he put that anchor. Wells Fargo actually today up. Was that the only bank that was down? Yeah, Goldman Sachs nicely to the upside as well. Goldman Sachs, Morgan Stanley would be the only other one that we have to look at. They're all up about 1%. JP was fine until it got hit there at the end of the day. The NASDAQ, I don't think it was really helped too much by Palantir, as it's a relatively new entrant here into the NASDAQ 100, but you could see right now, Palantir, huge move on the day. They got that contract yesterday. I think it was from NATO, right? And then now today, bump, bump, bump. One goes bump in the night. Palantir goes bump all day. So there it is. It's a nice move up 6.5%. I'm not sure if we missed a story or anything on Palantir today, but there's that NATO move with the Maven Smart System right there. Whoopsies, on Palantir. So that's a nice move. Nice move up. AI name Palantir with the move higher there today. Good job, PLTR. If you look at the daily chart as well, wow, what a bottom pick that would have been for Palantir. Hey, Palantir, Dara, is only up 35% in a week.
Yeah, I'll just casual.
Unbelievable move there for PLTR. Correction to the upside. I see a correction maybe on JB Hunt.
I think I said it when we...
You did, okay.
I made the correction internally because I know Benzinga sometimes messes up with the decimal points. They forgot to put billion in their sales, so they said that they missed, but actually they beat.
Okay, because as you can see right now, I almost thought it was the other way around, because there goes JB Hunt. Nice move back down to the downside.
Yeah, so I was actually, I was correct there. So they'd misreported as they missed. They had beat. I had said they beat when I when I announced it. But also, people are taking the podium now. Just be aware at this Trump event. I also want to say quickly, we have all these airlines bouncing. Thank you to the chat for making me aware of this. I'm just seeing this come in now. UAL not issuing any specific guidance yet that I can see, but their general comments are actually really optimistic, Sean. They said they expect, quote, resilient earnings in Q2 and fiscal 2025, though they did mention some macroeconomic uncertainties. They said they're also going to be removing 4 points of scheduled domestic capacity starting in Q3 2025. But no numerical guidance I can see as of yet. Resilient earnings expected. All of these airlines are kind of flying to the upside.
Yeah.
So these banks are pretty interesting. Yeah, Citigroup did have a little bit of acting up there to make a Citigroup reference into the end of the day. But yeah, these banks, I mean, Berkshire Hathaway's had a heck of a year. So these banks certainly going to be on watch, especially with the deregulatory environment right now.
JB Hunt, keep on trucking. I like that one in the chat. Shout out to Finch Jane there. I was actually at Jane and Finch. I had to go to a visitation there on Friday up near that area. So there it goes, man. Nice move up there for United Airlines. And I wasn't sure what you were talking about. Then you talked about capacity, and we went right over there. And you could see on a daily chart, United Airlines trying to get back over the 200 period, which would be $74. So we'll wait to see if there's anything coming on UAL. We did have a day from J&J today as well. I mean, I don't know. A name that got hit real bad there in the last couple weeks. huge move, though, back up to the upside off of 143. Sometimes it does pay to zoom out a little bit on J&J to see that bottom 145 and change. But there goes J&J today. Very, very choppy early. You could have got 156. It settled down late. So Johnson & Johnson on earnings report, just another look right there. We did have a big move on Boeing as well. We got to make sure that everybody understands that this show is brought to you by, of course, ProfitX. It's your recap show. That's not the right QR code for them. That is, yeah, I see where it says it. Yeah, I got you, Fabian. I just want to say, if you do scan that QR code, that'd be Trade the Pool. Go grab your 10% off of Trade the Pool. I just think if you are a sports gambler, just check out ProfitX for the odds alone. I'll leave it at that. You go check that out immediately. So Boeing today, oh boy, man, did we have a great trade on that one until we got stopped. We were stopped out. I could probably log into my account, but you guys are sleeping all day. Hey, Ramin, how's it going? I love those slippers. 159, nice move back down to the downside there. And look where we go out on Boeing, right at past support. So we'll check this out tomorrow. Boeing in and around 155 to 156. We'll check that stock out. And oh boy, Adara, what was the story early on Netflix? Because Netflix really got going right there as we await its Q1 report coming on Thursday. But Netflix, huge move. I wonder if they're going to split.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I'm okay with them not splitting because I like these spreadier tickers. Like, if they split Eli Lilly, what am I going to do? No, I'm joking. I'll still trade it. But Netflix here, reportedly, according to Wall Street Journal, basically told the company internally that they are looking to have $1 trillion market cap by 2030. People in the chat were just asking me what was happening with this one. And I traded this. I will say that I mentioned this earlier, that 976 level, massive. We kept bouncing. We finally cracked a little bit below it at the end of the day, but absolutely, I will be watching that 976 level tomorrow. And that area above 992, we just had a little bit of trouble cracking. With NFLX, you always want to be careful. You want to be cautious. Another level that was pretty interesting that I had flagged on a longer term chart is that 967, 968 level. So Adara levels for what they're worth on NFLX. This one is, if you're okay with spread, a really exciting intraday trade, but be aware with the thing, you've got that parabolic move. I should have been looking more for scalps, and I wasn't necessarily doing that today on NFLX. So that is our review for that. Shout out to Mando Beats, who mentioned this. Up 170% in contracts. Congrats to you, Mando Beats. I mean, we don't provide advice here, but yeah, be aware of that 1,000 rejection. I've always said these spready tickers especially, I think the more expensive they get, the harder time you have with these $100 levels. Yeah. Yeah,
we got to 993. Yeah, great level there, Adara. And I was just trying to point out to everybody in the chat, I mentioned this earlier on in the day that they had come out and they had talked about that 1 trillion market cap. You like it when some names and some CEOs are actually focused on the price of the stock. I mean, they got to get there. It's got to deserve it. But did you know the market cap right now of Netflix? I've been sort of highlighting it. I don't know if you noticed because you were.
I did not notice.
It's only 400 billion. No, but I say that because in order for it to get to 1 trillion, so you're going to have to double plus right now on this price. So I think I almost wonder if it's a little bit of like a hidden message in there, because one thing that can cause immediate price action is the splitting of a stock.
Yeah, that's true.
So, I don't know if Netflix is going to get to $2,400 in order for it to get to that trillion dollar market cap. So I think you'd have to split. And I think if Netflix does split, goes from 1,000 and goes 20 to 1 down to $50, I think at that point it can get to 70 or 80 a lot quicker than it can get to 1,700 as well right there. So we'll wait to see. Yeah, you're right, man. What's up to Matt Batrum? Matt Batrum, I like that name. 400 billion without selling a physical asset. Yeah, but I remember when I first started getting part of Netflix, man, they used to send us those DVDs. Oh, yeah. I'm not sure you were born at that point, Adara, but
I was alive. I was not participating in DVD Netflix, but I didn't know of its existence.
Yeah. So I think there was also something called Redbox or something like that.
Oh, I've heard of Redbox too. Also, guys, just so you know, sorry to interrupt, Trump is talking right now.
Okay.
At this military event, he's just thanking people. But he did mention China once, though. But also, yeah, I mean, Redbox I never had. Blockbuster, I remember.
Yeah, Blockbuster.
And then the Rogers Video Store was the one that we used the most. And then they closed, so we went to Blockbuster, and then Blockbuster closed.
I got to give a big shout out to all my Canadian friends over here, because there was another place that I liked. It was called Jumbo Video. I don't know if you had those or if that was just a GTA thing.
It might just
You know what
GTA.
they used to have? They used to give you free popcorn. So you would go in and they would have one of those popcorn machines. Literally, with those little baggies of popcorn, you fill it up and eat the popcorn as you walk through Jumbo Video. People are like, it used to have like, elephant was the, anyways. Those of you guys know. Those who know, know. And those who know our show, every week, Tuesday, we have one of, oh no. Brian, change your shirt immediately. Let's get this guy on before he has a chance to do it. All right, it's Trader Talk.
He already changed it. He literally already changed it.
I had this shirt sitting right over there, and I saw you on it, so I wanted to be like you, Sean.
I love it, man.
This was 100% intentional.
The only thing, I mean, now it's just like, I used to be the most handsome guy wearing this shirt. Now I can't even compete. So a big shout out to you, Brian. Great shirt there. I like it. I'm glad we are alike on all of that. How's your week been going? I haven't seen you since last Tuesday.
Correct. Yeah. I mean, we've been following through to the upside. Today we got this inside day that a lot of people think it means we're going to just break right down tomorrow, and that's certainly a possibility. But I think we've got maybe another couple days before we can really get excited about getting short again.
I really feel like you and I we're like trade, like we're on the floor in the pit, where they call down and they're looking for the dudes in the checkered shirt. So you and I working for the same firm here today for sure. I saw you tweeting out a little bit here, mentioning JP Morgan and looking at some anchored VWAPs with JP Morgan. The note that I have here was continuously bouncing off anchored VWAP on the weekly chart potentially. You're not necessarily looking to trade this name yet, but for JP Morgan, it's a name that I'm actually long, and I'm long in and around here. And I'm a little foolish. We did have the earnings. It did have a nice little spike back. It cleared the 200 period moving average. I'm going to ask you some other questions about other names and market in general. But do you want to share something, your thoughts on JP Morgan or any of the banks as we get through earnings season here on XLF or on any of the individual names?
Yeah, I'd love to. And it actually ties in with what you were just talking about with Adara, which is Netflix and the pattern there. So here's JP Morgan. And what I was talking about, first of all, let's back it up to a weekly chart, is that the pattern of higher highs and higher lows on the weekly chart had been interrupted. And that we see a pattern of this high, a low, and a lower low. So what I've been thinking about JP Morgan is it has the potential here to form a head and shoulders top. And again, that only means that we've gone from a pattern of higher highs and higher lows to lower highs and lower lows. So now it's kind of into this zone where it has the potential to kind of roll over. And if it does, then I think it's bigger trouble for JP Morgan. The financials themselves have the same exact head and shoulders pattern here that we've seen after quite a strong rally higher. So back to that daily time frame. Here's where we are, right at the neckline. We're right at the anchored volume weighted average price from the all-time high. That's that one I just put in there, and I'm coloring red right now. So this is clearly a level where if the sellers are going to take control, it's within the next couple days for the financials. And if it starts doing something like this, then I think you've got some trouble. If it can do this, and here's the precedent for it, is that it's a failed head and shoulders pattern. That's exactly what we saw with Netflix, is that Netflix looked like it had the potential to break down. Instead, it continued to rally higher here, and there was no reason to get short in there because we were above that rising 5-day moving average. So we look at the daily pattern and say, wow, that looks like this big reversal pattern. But we wait for the shorter term time frame to confirm that, and it never did. So there was no reason to be involved in Netflix on the short side. And when we look at JP Morgan on the 30-minute time frame, we've got the same thing. We're holding above that rising 5-day moving average for now. But that will start, if we start to see action like this, Sean, and we get stuck below it, then I think the next leg is lower for JP Morgan on the intermediate term, which makes the daily time frame look bad, which in turn makes it more likely that we continue lower here on the weekly time frame. So we're at a pretty critical spot.
Yeah, no, I agree 100%. That was what making me nervous. I would have loved for it to hold or get above that 240 so we could continue that momentum higher, and it does not seem like that's happening. I wonder, because we just brought up Netflix, Do you ever look to trade a name? I know we've already talked about going into earnings, so I'm not going to ask you about that. But what about something that splits? Like when you do get some split action, we had NVIDIA split. Do you draw your attention more to those names? Or for you, it's just a mechanic in the market, the charts will adjust, and you'll go back and look at them all over again? Does a split of a stock get Brian Shannon's attention more, or...
You know, in 1991, when I started as a retail broker at Lehman Brothers in Boston, there were certain pitches that they would, tell you to do for customers. One of them, they called it stock split acceleration. Okay. Hey, Mr. Jones, I don't know if you're aware, the phenomenon when the stock splits, we call it stock split acceleration. I thought it was the stupidest strategy ever, and I still do. Because, as they say, it's just taking your pizza that you slice into 4 pieces into 8 pieces. You still have the same amount of pizza. It still is going to taste exactly the same, but the perception changes, and that's what's important. So if we get a stock split and it starts to rally, that's the catalyst. Yep. You'd set an anchor to that and say, hey, here was a catalyst for the stock, and trade it accordingly. But, there is somewhat of that appeal to people, and it doesn't make as much sense as it used to, because now you can trade fractional shares. But it's something that gets people's attention, so we should be aware.
Yeah, for sure. And I also do, just to add to that point as well, I like how you sort of still know the pitch from 91, so that's great once it's in your head, right? You never forget that. But what I also wanted to get at was the fact that if we do get that split, it also drives interest in the options market. It becomes a little more, affordable for some of those retail traders, as you had mentioned there as well, with the fractional shares. So it does get going. We've seen that happen to many different names. All right, so a healthy name that you and I have talked about many, many times. It's been breaking out. It seems to want to go. It's my friend and yours. I'm not sure if it's any of our friends, but Alex Karp and Palantir right here, weaponizing AI basically. NATO just bought a big program with them called Maven yesterday. It's getting now, we just talked about getting some catalysts in individual names. This doesn't look like we're going through any problems in the NASDAQ. It's now above the 50-period moving average. This is a little bit of a shock to me because in the last week and a half, we go from 67 up to 98. So we basically move almost 40% there in just over 7 trading days back to the upside. But you know what, Brian? This little mark right here is $100. I don't know if all gaps get filled, but we gapped down one day. We didn't even really get a chance to trade this as it broke from 100 all the way down into 95. So right here, we're going to see $100 tomorrow. Would that be something that we could push through in your estimation there? Because I know a trader like me, if we open up tomorrow, Brian, and we're around 99.50 or something like that, I'm going to have those buy keys ready to take hopefully a boatload of shares breaking through $100. Is that a good play or what? What do you think Palantir looks like? And we don't have to talk about it on a day, like on a scalp trade, but do you think it has enough oomph now to push through that $100 mark?
I think, yeah, it does. It seems like there's a big magnet hanging over it, pulling it up to there. And like you said, you've got that gap in that same area that seems like it wants to be filled. I think, though, that, Sean, your strategy of, looking at it as a short-term play makes a lot more sense, simply because, like you said, it's 48% or so. If it gets through 100, that will be a 50% rally off the low in a couple days. So it's certainly getting stretched in here. And I would think that it's going to likely be met with some profit taking, and then if it can settle down in the next week or two, down closer towards that 90 level, then it sets up for the next move. But this is getting a little bit too far extended for a trade that you can expect to hold for more than a day trade, maybe 2 days.
For being here with us today, Brian. I know we just kind of talked about Netflix ahead of earnings. Here's another sector I think of note right now. We just had UAL report earnings, a little pop there in some of these airline names, and also Boeing this morning on the move. UAL and Delta were actually the 2 worst names in industrials for Q1. So with that in mind, do you think there's any potential for a bounce in this sector? And if so, are there any tickers or ETFs that you'd be looking at with that in mind?
My mind automatically goes to XAL, which is the American Exchange Airline Index, and I mean, maybe you can say that it's the only positive thing you can say is down at this level where it's found support a couple times in the past, so it's definitely pretty oversold here. I don't think you're going to get an immediate reversal, but the last 2 times it actually pretty much did that. So I'm not as excited about this. The one that I told you I'd lost some money in earlier this year was LUV, Southwest Airlines. They're probably the ones that I would buy if I was going to buy some, because starting next month, they're starting to charge for bags, and that's going to bring more than $2.50 to their bottom line, is what my AI analysis told me. So I just don't like to buy weakness like this, but it's definitely in that zone where you could say your downside is limited if you're looking to be a longer term buyer in here.
We also have another ETF there that I always look at. It holds about, I think it's the top 5 airlines are 10% each, is Jets. So JETS, Jets right there. And like you had mentioned, they're bouncing off of some key levels down here for Jets ETF as that continues to go upside. So great question, Adair, and even great answer as well. Thank you, Brian, for all of that. We always get talk here. I could ask you pretty much about anything. Gold, we've talked about a little bit on here. A big position that I think traders are interested to hear your opinion on, and I'm going to go to a weekly on XLE. So as we look here, I go all the way back, and we talk about this. This is back to 2022 levels right now for oil, and this is obviously oil services fund. So not the same as XOM, but if you're looking even at a stock like an XOM, this name is back into the same levels back. Let's erase 3 years and get all the way back in. So other than collecting dividends, if you've been holding this stock now, you're looking down at it and saying, hey, is this a decent spot to average in? I don't see many names, Brian, that are near this 200 period, or at least look like they bounced off clean. This is a 200 period on a weekly for ExxonMobil. Is there a sort of vehicle that you use or that you're looking at right now to get in with oil or energy or any of these plays? Anything caught your eye? Because I know it's been beat up, and I feel like this is ebbs and flows. So if this market doesn't go into a recession, I believe there could be a nice little boon here in the energy sector.
A couple of weeks ago, about 3 or 4 weeks ago, Sean, it looked like they were breaking out, and they had a failed breakout higher right here. This was, 3 weeks ago? And we spoke about it here. And I was thinking maybe it had the potential to break out of this bigger range that it's been in. Instead, from that failed move came a fast move lower. Now we have all this prior support up in here that's likely to become resistance. So I look at oil itself. It's severely broken down at $60.50 or wherever it is, and I think it's following what has been happening. And we've spoken about it numerous times in here. Is Occidental Petroleum, just a beautiful pattern of lower highs and lower lows, and everyone talks about it because Warren Buffett's involved. But it's below all those key moving averages. I think it's it's guilty until proven innocent right now. XLE, and then the oil services OIH. Yep. They look similarly broken. They're below the anchor from 2020. Oh, yeah. The XLE maybe heads down to the late 2020 anchor, and that would put us down at about 71 or even down towards 66 at the anchor from 2020 low.
So thank you. OIH, and another great tool or vehicle to trade for that as well. Brian, we have over 3,000 watching, and I know you have at Alpha Trends, one of the better subscriptions you can have there on X as well. I want to promote your book. You never asked me to do it, but I'm going to do it anyways. Here it is, Fabian. It's Maximum Trading Gains using the Anchored VWAP. So Maximum Trading Gains with Anchored VWAP, authored by Brian Shannon. I definitely advise everybody to pick that up. What is a pinched VWAP? Is that someone in our chat said, ask Brian about the pinched VWAP trade that happened on NVIDIA today. I have read that book.
Find what he's talking about.
Okay, that's what
maybe.
That's what I thought. Any thoughts about NVIDIA trading? Then I'm going to get another name if there's anything you want to talk about. But NVIDIA looks like it's trying to battle back, again, off of a key level of $100. We'd only been under 100 since the 20, again, this is another name that had split over, so the actual $100 value doesn't mean too much, but we've only sort of dipped under it once after gapping through. We did have that dip buy. Now we're trying to get going on NVIDIA. Any thoughts here with that name? And again, I apologize. Someone had mentioned about a pinched VWAP, and I sort of thought...
No, that's fine. So I'm not really sure which pinch he's talking about, which time frame, but
Okay.
you know, when I still look at NVIDIA, I still see this pattern that we've mentioned numerous times, which is we had this high, we had a lower high, lower high, lower high, we had this low, a lower low, and a lower low. So in order for this stock to really reverse, I wouldn't be as excited about it if it just went through here. I'd like to see it do this, pull back, create a higher low, and then get going. But what your listener or viewer is talking about is maybe the VWAP pinch from, so what we're talking about is it gets stuck between two important VWAPs. So from the high from February, you can see we've been finding supply there. And right now, we're finding demand at the anchor from the volume-weighted average price from the tariff pause. So what this person's talking about is simply a compression of energy between these volume-weighted average prices. And today I found buyers at the week today. So maybe that person is looking for it to break beyond here. And what it's just showing is more repeated tests of resistance in here, higher lows, and then possibly breaking higher. But then again, you've got the bigger time frame to deal with. So hopefully that clears up a little bit about what it pinches. It's just compression between an upper VWAP bearing down on it and support at the bid from a lower VWAP coming up underneath it.
All right, perfect. Yeah, people in the chat seem to be happy with all of that, and I apologize not getting a little bit more information, but
No problem.
I think you just absolutely nailed it. All right, is there an idea maybe that you'd like to talk about and we could review maybe next week? Any names you're looking at, anything breaking out? And I said on the air today that last week I couldn't get you to want to buy anything. Has anything changed in your mind at all? Is there a sector? Is there a trade idea now that I can sort of pinch out of Brian Shannon?
Here's what I'll go with, Sean. I'm gonna do something a little unpopular and say that the S&P 500 or the Nasdaq is probably a good short with limited upside here. If we stay below 550, so if we get above 550, forget about it. But the way we're setting up right now is that we've got the anchored volume-weighted average price from the all-time high coming down. It's at about 550. We've got the 20-day moving average at about 545. The range is compression. I think we get maybe a day or two of sideways action, and then we start to break down. And as long as we're below 550-ish, then I think that the risk is to the downside. I still don't want to buy much of anything beyond for a day trade.
All right. Yeah, I just dropped that anchor as well. You're 100% right on that, man. Right on the nose there. Close enough to 550 as it's that sort of gapped area. Yeah, hey, nothing wrong. Hey, short is a trade. Cash is a position. Like they're all trades. So I want to thank you for coming out. The production team is all over me here. We have to wrap up. Brian, great choice of attire there today, and I want to thank you for coming through again. Everybody can go follow you at Alpha Trends over there on X, and we want to thank you again for coming through, and we'll talk about that short again next Tuesday. Thank you, Brian.
Sounds good. Thanks, everybody.
Ciao. All right, there it is again from David. This guy's technician, next level technician. Yeah, we want to thank Brian for coming through again, always looking at charts for us. And again, you can throw anything at him.
Yeah.
And it's bang, we'll give you an answer. So we want to definitely say thank you so much to Brian for coming through, and thank you so much for everybody for staying late, okay? It's been a huge day. Thank you, Adara. Thank you, Fabian. Everybody today, great show. Thank you, Bears vs. Bulls, for staying late. I apologize for running 5 minutes extra, but we do have to do one quick thing, and it's going to be roll call. So I'm just going to say hi to everybody here. We have over 2,800 of you still left. Thank you for all of the help today, for everybody. Thank you to Hype Cube in the chat, Michelle Muir, Bears vs. Bulls, the number one viewer, in my opinion, Bears versus Bulls. We love having you on here, and thank you so much for everything you're doing there on the chat. Scott Tomlinson, Andy's here as well. Andrew Chow, the Piper, says thank you to Brian. So you get that as well. David, shorts versus longs. That's always a good one. Long versus short, shorts versus longs. We like that. Michael, DCA, yeah, dollar cost average. Always a great show. We like to say thank you to that as well. Adara, I know you're busy listening. If there's anybody you want to say thank you to.
Trump stopped speaking now. But yeah, so a shout out to Daryl Flynn, shout out to the Piper, shout out to Base Joey, shout out to Calmando, Kurt Hutchings, NYC Urbanista, Dewey, Wall Street Only, Bears versus Bulls. Thank you so much for being here with us every single day. Because guess what, guys? We had some earnings tonight, and we have some more earnings tomorrow, including ASML. So should be an exciting time. We'll see you all tomorrow. But for now,
I should have asked him about ASML. I should have asked Brian.
Oh, that would have been
so much to do.
Yeah.
So tonight we have volleyball. So my wife's got to go to one spot, bring my daughter to volleyball.
Nice.
And then I basically, she comes back, it's about a 20-minute drive. Then I got to take my son basically to the same spot, even though we have 2 cars. It's just an hour later.
That's fair.
To basketball. So we are thinking about getting Subway.
Oh.
On in between, so we can eat as a family. So she'll pick it up on the way home. Then we'll all eat together. Then we'll go. So my thing to you is, this is your order from Subway.
This is a veggie delight. I am super boring with probably the light mayo.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Veggie delight. We like that
and
one.
Cheese.
And any type of bread. There's the I don't know. There's the Italian. There's the cheesy.
Yeah.
There's whole wheat.
I have not been to Subway in at least a year, but I did like when they had the paninis. I could smash a Subway panini. The flatbread is good too.
Good. Oh yeah, the flatbread. I love the flatbread actually. All right. All right, we got to wrap this thing up. Let's go. Thank you so much for joining us. Join us tomorrow at 8:30. For Adara, I'm Sean. Thank you so much to Brian, Shannon, and all of our guests today, including Money Mitch as well. And we will see everybody tomorrow at 8:30. Go ASML.
Yeah.